Got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the show today, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Big Win Wednesday, which means thanks to our friends over at Garber Chevrolet, we're going to be giving away the grand prize today, which is Tigers tickets for Sunday Night Baseball. That's at 10:15. Again, thanks to our friends at Garber Chevrolet. All you're going to have to do is text in. Speaking of the Tigers, we'll get to them in the 10 o'clock hour. We had Casey Mize and Javi Baez both go down with, I don't want to say gruesome injuries, because Casey's, it was a groin thing. Nothing like looked apparent watching it on TV, but he leaves the game pretty abruptly. And then Javi's, it was a little bit more gruesome. Got his ankle turned up on him. Looked like either an ankle or foot sprain. That's pure speculation. But getting carted off, you can anticipate him being out for a little bit. We'll get to the Tigers in the 10 o'clock hour. Let's start with the Detroit Pistons, who are literally against the ropes tonight. You know, we said Game 3 they were against the ropes. Game 2, we said they were against the ropes. They won. Game 3, we said they were even more against the ropes. They lost. And now they're legit, like, Royal Rumble, hanging on from the rope. One foot's already touching the ground. They got to save themselves. Kyle has no idea what the reference is there, but that's fine. If they lose tonight, their season is completely over. But there's been something happening. Like, you and I kind of talked about this yesterday. We thought they were mostly dead in the water, but something's been happening with the odds that have been shifting in favor of the Pistons, and then they've been going towards Orlando. Vegas can't quite seem to figure out what this should be. And for a 3-1 advantage for the Orlando Magic, right now the Pistons are only plus 210 to win the series. Those odds aren't that bad. They got all the way down to plus 190 yesterday, so they've been all over the place. Why is that? Because Franz Wagner is questionable with a calf injury. What's the one thing we've learned about calf injuries over the past 5-6 years in the NBA? You come back from them too early, you tear your Achilles. Especially in the playoffs when the intensity is so high, both physically and emotionally. tragic stuff has happened every single April and throughout the playoffs for years in a row. Years. If I'm Orlando, I'm very hesitant to bring Franz Wagner back this early, especially considering that you're up 3-1. You got another home game. This should be the game the Pistons win. They're 9-point favorites, for crying out loud. Right now, he's questionable and considered day-to-day. I don't know, man. Calf injury? You want to lean more towards the cautious end on that. I would consider him a little bit more than day-to-day. But nonetheless, right now, the Pistons are 9-point favorites tonight. And I want to ask you, Kyle, can they be the 14th team in NBA history to mount a 3-1 comeback?
Yes. I think they can, man. Now, am I confident that it's going to happen? Am I going to sit here and be like, they're absolutely coming back from 3-1? Look at how they've played. They've played so good. We all know they can do it. Of course not. But I do think there's a lot of things that play into them coming back from 3-1, making it actually a real possibility. And the number one thing is what you've laid out. Franz Wagner being out, it's major. I mean, think about some of the guys that have had to play. Look, Jamal Cain's dunk against Jalen Duren was great, man. That was one of the better posters there's been in the playoffs in quite some time.
Second highest dunk score of the year.
It was a really good dunk. Like, it was a true poster. Everything about it was awesome. But outside of that, I don't think Jamal Cain has been, like, phenomenal in this series.
No, what did you tell me? He was like a minus 21
yesterday? He was
yesterday?
like a minus, like, he was a very net negative for the Magic in that game, despite having the great dunk. So, like, that's one of the times where I'm like, you know what, throw the stats out the window. That dunk definitely sparked something for Orlando, sure. But that guy's going to have a much bigger role. Anthony Black, I think, has straight up been bad for the Magic in this series. Every time he's out on the floor, he's a foul machine. He's going to have to get more minutes. And then on top of that, just think about how good Franz has been. Like, outside of Banchero, Franz has been the best guy in this series for the Magic. No doubt about it. I think Paolo's been pretty consistent. Suggs has been up and down. He had the terrible game last time out. Really good to start the series. Desmond Bane had a really bad game, too.
Yeah.
The 2 games in Orlando, he shot the lights out. But Franz has been pretty consistently, like, able to get to the rack at will. He's hit really clutch shots that have iced some of the games. So him being out, it's crucial. Like, he has been a killer in this series. It also allows the Pistons to use Asar Thompson even more effectively on defense because they've tried many different options of throwing him at different guys, throwing him at Suggs, throwing him at Bane. He spent a little bit of time guarding Wagner. This is going to make things easier defensively for the Pistons when I think they already kind of figured things out on defense a little bit last game. So Franz being out is the number one reason why you feel confident.
Yeah, Franz is 19, 12, 17, 19 in terms of his points. Also has shot 100% from the free throw line in 3 straight games. He's been he's been really good for Orlando so far. And, you know, if you're an Orlando fan, you're probably saying, well, they were missing him in the most part for the fourth quarter in game 4, and that did not matter. Orlando was still able to come out on top. Yeah, I think once the game's, like, already in the thick of it and you've got a pace to it already, you can survive without one of your players because, you know, you already have the lead. I mean, look what happened with the Timberwolves, right? They lose Anthony Edwards, and they just continue to roll Denver in the game that they lost Ant. Look what happened in the second game. They aren't able to stay in there with Denver without their best player. And, yes, Anthony Edwards is significantly better than Franz Wagner. Let's make that clear.
Of course.
But
importance to the team, though, like, they're both quite important to their teams. I'm not discrediting Anthony Edwards by any means here.
They're going to lose size. They're going to lose rebounding. They're losing free throws. They're losing the ability to get it to the rim. Now it's really just Paolo as their lone slasher, the guy who's going to put pressure at the rim. There's a reason the Pistons are 9-point favorites tonight. There's a reason that this team won 60 games. I know for as much as we've talked about the offense struggling, the offense not able to find any sort of rhythm, Orlando knocking them, back in the Pistons not having a response, generating open shots. All of this is going to be hard. The long-term playoff outlook still has been shattered in a way that probably is not going to be recovered. But when it just comes down to this series, this is how I want to think about it. Tonight, I don't think Franz Wagner is going to play. The Pistons should win at home. Then you have to win one more game, win one single road game to force a Game 7 at home in which teams are, ready for this, 115-40 as home in Game 7 teams. Game 7, home teams are 115-40 in the history of the league. Can you win the next 2 and just get back home? That's the way I'm thinking about this. When you break it down like that, it doesn't seem impossible, especially considering the injury.
Yeah, but you certainly have to take it game by game. Like, already thinking about Game 7, I think is probably not the way to do things here. Now, obviously, once it gets to that point, then you feel confident because not only are you, like that stat you lay out, that home teams in Game 7 are extremely successful, the Pistons would have also won 2 games in a row going into that game.
The momentum would have completely flipped. I'm with you a little bit that you can't think about Game 7, but if you win tonight, what am I supposed to do? Just not think about it?
No, I get that. But, like, I think winning tonight is, like, you have to win tonight. Like, I mean, no doubt about it. The back's against the wall.
And then it's just like, can we just win one more? And let's just go back home.
And, like, the reason why I do think it's possible, once again, I don't think I'm confident. I just think that I would not be shocked if this goes down, is because you do pull out this game tonight. You're 10-point favorites, man, at home. Like, they can't lose this game tonight. And then you go back to Orlando in a place that, yes, I think that the home environment there has been great, and it's been better than LCA. And I'm very interested to see what LCA is like tonight because the Pistons fans are upset with the way this series has gone. Does that mean they're going to come out extra feisty tonight, or does that mean they're going to not want to show up tonight?
I have a feeling they're going to turn on the Pistons tonight, unfortunately.
It could happen. But nonetheless, the 2 games in Orlando, the Pistons could have pulled out either of those games. I mean, I know Game 4 is the one that we're circling because it was the one they went down 3-1 in. But Game 3, they made the storming comeback in the 4th quarter. They came all the way back, took the lead after being down by double digits just to not have a field goal in the final 5 minutes of the game. Like, they're capable of pulling out a must-win game in Orlando. They're not going to play in Boston. They're certainly not going to play in Madison Square Garden. They're playing in Orlando, man. They can go win there. You just got to pull this one out tonight, which you absolutely should because you're 10-point favorites.
And if the Pistons are winning tonight, let's say they do, there suddenly becomes a lot of pressure on Orlando to make a decision about Franz Wagner.
Let's make the one thing clear. Franz Wagner is not coming back. It's a calf injury, man. Like the fact that he's not ruled out tonight. They're like, hey, by the way, he's got a calf strain. He's going to be out for a couple weeks, but he's not out yet tonight. What are we talking about?
Here's the thing:
the reporting on this is just so odd.
If the Pistons win tonight, it puts Orlando in a really uncomfortable situation because then you're talking about, okay, well, if we lose Game 6. We're going on the road for Game 7, and we've lost all the momentum. So do we want to bring back Franz Wagner now? Are we working him back in? As we've seen with Denver, like you can bring a guy back early, and either a catastrophic injury can happen to where you ruin his season next year, or he's just not the same player and is actually negatively impacting the team rather than helping them out because he's a shell of himself out there. If the Pistons are going to win tonight, it puts a weird internal pressure on Orlando to make a decision on Franz Wagner, whether or not they want him out there or not, which could really negatively hurt the team rather than help them out.
Yeah, there's much more risk than reward if you try to bring back Franz Wagner at all. I would be shocked if he played again in this series. And obviously that would mean the series is going the distance, and they could just win tonight, and it wouldn't matter. But I would be baffled if he played again against the Pistons.
989-837-6125. Do you believe the Pistons have a pulse? Franz Wagner's down. Orlando is not as good of a team when he did not play this year. He only played 34 games. They were 20-14 when he played, 25-23 when he did not. So they're basically a 500 team when he does not play. Can the Pistons pull out a win tonight if he's not out there? 989-837-6125. 9 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by Iron Stack Technology. They help businesses solve real tech problems securely, efficiently, and without the headache. When your IT is working the way it should, everything else gets easier. Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven, mission-focused. You can check them out online at ironstacktechnology.com.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
'Ski Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Nine 837-6125. Do you believe the Pistons have life? No Franz tonight, more than likely. He hasn't been technically ruled out yet, but both Kyle and I mean, calf injuries. You don't want to bring guys back
He's out.
early.
Yeah, he's out tonight.
I think they're just leaving the door open simply because, if they end up back against the wall, they got to play him Game 7, right? They don't really have a choice. They're going to be forced into a pretty uncomfortable situation in Game 6.
I think they do have a choice, man. I mean, we literally saw what happened to Tyrese Halliburton, to Jason Tatum last year. You bring these guys back, Damian Lillard. You bring these guys back too early, and who cares about this? I understand, it's hard to say, well, we could lose our season. He has to play. And then all of a sudden he misses the entire year next year. You don't want to risk it. You don't want to risk that.
Which is why I think it's safe to say he's not going to be playing today. And then, again, it makes them make an uncomfortable decision. That's all I'm really looking for if I'm the Detroit Pistons. Which is why I just, suddenly have a little bit of hope that maybe, just maybe, they could pull this thing out. I also think there's fun parallels between this and the 2003 season where the Pistons were the 1 seed, fall 3-1 to Orlando, lose an insanely pivotal Game 4, and it seems like they're dead before they come back home, win Game 5, then they win Game 6 on the road. And then, boom, just like that, they're on to the Eastern Conference semifinals, coming back from 3-1. They're one of the 13 teams to ever do it. Can they do it again and make themselves the 14th team in NBA history? Look, if Franz was healthy and Orlando was fully healthy, I'd say no chance. This is a sign of, at the very least, hope. Light at the end of the tunnel. And it sucks that it comes on the back of a player getting hurt, but that's the reality of the situation that they're in.
Yeah,
the second best player, the third best player on the other team got hurt. He might not come back. Even if he does, he will not be a 100% version of himself. And if he plays like a 100% version of himself, he's screwing himself because he will inevitably hurt himself worse.
And look, we can ask, do I think they're going to come back? Do you think they're going to come back? The real people you should be asking, unfortunately, is Vegas. And that's why we brought it up in that opening segment. The odds for them to win the series down 3-1, where Orlando just needs to win one of them, they are plus 205.
2-1.
I'm getting 2-1 odds. They have to win 3 straight games.
He's one of every 3 times this thing plays out. The Pistons come back 3-1.
That shows that Vegas is confident, at least, that it's very capable of happening. If you want to flip it and let's look at the Lakers versus Rockets series, where the Lakers are up 3-1. The Lakers are minus 1,100 to win, whereas Orlando's
injury,
minus 220. It's the Franz injury. I mean, the Lakers were up 3-0, so that would be a full 3-0 comeback for Houston. Maybe that plays into it a little bit, but still, last night, I know that Philly won last night, but going into that, Boston was minus 10,000 to win the series. The fact that we have to remember this is 1 versus 8. The 8 seed does not win. We want to talk about, a lot of teams don't come back from 3-1. Well, a lot of 8 seeds don't win against the 1 seed either. We have 2. We're going to get an unlikely outcome no matter what happens here. Either An 8 seed upset a 1, which it never happens, or we get a 3-1 comeback, which historically doesn't happen. In recent NBA history, it's been less uncommon.
Yeah, we've had the NBA Finals. We had it happen to Denver and Utah in 2021.
Yeah, it still is.
Some circumstances.
It still is rare, but it certainly isn't like unfathomable.
We're kind of due for one. There hasn't been one in a couple postseasons.
I like that. We're kind of due for one.
Kellen says, legit, all we have to do is limit the turnovers and play basketball. Yeah. Pistons lose. How many did they end up losing by on Wednesday? What was the final score?
6,
there?
I think.
6, and they had 20 turnovers. If they just have 11 turnovers, which would still be a kind of a high number, they probably just win that game.
I would take 11 all day, man. I mean, Cade almost had 11. We just got to keep going back to this too. Orlando is just not that good. They're just straight up not that good, and they lost their second best player. Their bench. I mean, you look at we've been talking about the plus minus a lot because I think it matters. Like a lot of the lineups that the Pistons have run out have been the reasons that they lose these games. The Magic bench in the last 2 games has been god awful. Their bench comes into the game. Anthony Black was a minus 20. Their bench comes in and blows the game, and now one of those guys has to be a starter.
Devin says if we commit 3 turnovers in the first 3 minutes, it's a wrap. If not, we can probably win this game, which I think means you can win the series. I'm kind of with that. Don't come out like you all
Like
just
they
passed
did
the
last
blunt
game?
around.
Yeah.
That's the first 3 minutes of the game last on Monday. It was like, what the hell just happened? We just got hit by a 2x4, and now we're trying to play basketball concussed. You know what it was? It felt like everybody did the dizzy bat thing, where you spin around on the bat, and then they went and played basketball. That was the first 3 minutes of the game.
Instead of running down and back, okay, now go play a first quarter.
That was the first 3 minutes. Jessica says, best way to avoid these turnovers is to stop trying to get 3-point shots, rely more on the layups and dunks. Orlando is giving Pistons crap under the net because they play a really good defensive game. I don't know if the turnovers translate to the 3-point shot very much.
I mean, also, I get that, yeah, when they're shooting terribly from 3, I can understand, don't shoot as many threes. 6 of 30 from downtown is pretty ridiculous. You're also just never going to win a playoff game making 6 threes.
No.
They do have to.
They almost did.
They do it. They almost did. Want to know why? Because Orlando somehow almost shot worse. They were 9 of 35 from 3. So you can't rely on that to happen again. Because Franz, it's not like he's this lights-out three-point shooter. That's the one thing that they're not, losing in this series. If anything, they might gain some shooting if De Silva starts.
Hit a couple big ones in this series.
He did. And so, but yeah, the Pistons have to continue to shoot threes. They can't shoot 6 of 30 again. That's unreal.
Jennifer says, I think Orlando wins tonight, and it's going to be a long off season. Well, that's not the spirit we need on this show today, Jessica.
I mean, it is going to be a long off season. I think no matter what, just because this still happened. They still went down 3-1 to the 8 seed, no matter what the outcome is. So I think it's going to be a long off season.
What would they have to do for you to just forget about this? Because if they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, to me, then it's I don't really care that they went down 3-1 to Orlando, because I know they're the 8 seed. They're much better than your typical 8 seed. They are.
Are they?
Yes.
I keep hearing this. I keep hearing they're better than your regular 8 seed. Are they better than Phoenix?
Franz played.
Phoenix just got swept by the Thunder. I think Phoenix is better than Orlando.
I think Orlando's a better team. Look,
they've played better than typical, I guess.
34 games this year. Paolo missed about 20 games this year. Desmond Bane was in and out of the lineup. They were never fully healthy. And when they were a pretty good team.
I just think the product that I'm watching on the floor of Orlando does not scream, this is not your typical 8 seed.
No, but it's also a bunch of guys with NBA experience. It's a very veteran seasoned team.
I think the reason why people say that is coming into this season, Orlando was their over-under wins was 50.5.
Higher than the Pistons.
They were picked to be the 3 seed in the East this year. They were supposed to be good. And so I think that's why they get labeled as this they're not your typical 8 seed. And then you watch them play and you're like, oh yeah, they look like an 11 seed actually.
But we never thought their offense was going to be a lights out spectacular.
Yeah.
You also have to remember, yes, their offenses looked bad. The Pistons have had the top 3 defense in the league all year. That's part of the reason their offense has been so bad.
It's a good point. Yeah, it definitely has been.
It's been an ugly series. It's not very appeasing to the eye, unless you really like Isaiah Stewart blocks, which I do. See, man, he had a block party on Monday.
And now the series is going to get less aesthetically pleasing because it just lost one of its best players.
Offensive players, too. You know, one thing they really do need tonight as well, in addition to limiting the turnovers, Isaiah Stewart just can't pick up stupid fouls tonight. It just can't happen, man. We need you. You are one of the best defensive players in the league. You cannot get yourself into foul trouble tonight, especially considering there's a real chance Duren just stinks it up again.
Yeah, I think I'm done on the whole, is this going to be the game that Duren comes back?
No, it's not.
I just don't think it is.
Odds of Duren scoring 15, it seems unlikely.
I'll be pleasantly surprised if he has a big game. He was the one that said to the media, I think he said to The Athletic, man, the Pistons come back all the time, or teams come back all the time from 3-1. The series isn't over.
Yeah, he also said, I still think we're the better team top to bottom. All right, man.
I think they are too. I agree.
I know. It's just a weird thing for him to be saying of all people right now.
Hey, he also said the East runs through Detroit, which hypothetically it does. So it's all true statements from Jalen Duren. Yeah, I mean, if this series, this playoff run ends up like that 03 season where you're down 3-1 to Orlando to the 8th seed in the first round, you come back and then you use that momentum to push through and win in round 2, all of a sudden you're in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I'll take that, man.
And you get swept by the better team, which is exactly what happened, and that might be what happens if you face Boston. Sure. But I'm still going to be man, you were down 3-1 to the 8th seed. I'm not going to forget about these thoughts I've had the past week.
I'm not going to ask you to forget about it, but I would forgive them if they won an additional series outside of this.
Yeah.
989-837-6125. Do you think the Pistons are dead in the water, or do they have some life to them with this Franz Wagner injury? We'll get to more Mint messages, hit the texts, get to some Lions stuff because they made a couple decisions on some 2023 draft class players. And then, of course, like I promised, we will get to the Tigers and their injuries and the help that's on the way in the 10 o'clock hour.
And the tickets on the way.
And the tickets that are on the way, thanks to our friends over at Garbage Chevrolet. Thanks to our friends at Bresky Siding and Building Repair, this show is possible. They're the experts who do the job right the first time. Whether you have a leaky roof, storm damage, siding looking a little tired, Bresky has you covered. Locally owned, trusted, and dedicated to keeping Midland area homes safe and looking sharp. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Don't wait for the next storm. Call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today and keep your home strong for years to come.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Got one more text that said, Game 5, Detroit Pistons versus Orlando Magic, streaming on Amazon Prime. I don't mind the Amazon Prime stream as long as I can hear the game, which about a 50-50 chance at some point throughout the broadcast, I guess it's not a broadcast, throughout the stream, that the audio just cuts out. That part's annoying. Other than that, I like the coverage.
I don't like the audio, how it's late. It's behind, or it's early, excuse me. The broadcasters are early than what's on the court, and that's frustrating. It's like watching a movie with closed captions on, but the captions pop up like a second or two before they say the words. That is super annoying to me. But I'm also an audio nerd, so that's probably why.
Let's hit the news.
The Mets Morning Catch.
Okay, let's get right back into the news, Ben. We got a
Sure.
lot to go over here. We had two pretty big breaking news things go down for basketball in like a 5-minute span yesterday. But before doing that, I know we're going to discuss this throughout today's show. It's worth mentioning today. Let's look at the Covenant Healthcare injury reports. 2 injuries go down in the Tigers game yesterday. Casey Mize leaves with groin tightness in the 3rd inning. And then Javi Baez has a really awkward play at first base where he tries avoiding a tag. The base gets involved. It's called a right ankle injury. A lot of people are speculating what this could be. I think it could be a variety of things. We don't have an update yet. AJ Hinch, all he said was it looked scary. There is one positive thing in the news, and that's that Jackson Jobe threw a bullpen session yesterday. So at least we'll do 1 positive, 2 negatives there.
I got more on all of that in the 10 o'clock hour.
Okay, let's talk about, what do you want to do first? The NCAA basketball thing or the NBA lottery thing?
Basketball. NCAA.
Oh, basketball. Got it.
March Madness.
Okay, March Madness, the NCAA tournament is set to move to 76 teams. This was reported during the tournament that it was going to be kind of approved this offseason. It sounds like it is going to happen. There is a mid-May timeline announcement, sounds like, for when this is going to go into place. I don't know if this will happen effective immediately. Because
I would imagine.
But also they have already tournament dates set up. You know, like everything for next year is already planned. So,
But this shouldn't, from what I read, this will not impact, like the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday will just be the exact same.
Yeah,
there'll just be more play-in games
like a
Tuesday, Wednesday,
yes.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
yeah, so what it sounds like is the first 4 will now just be 8 teams playing 4 games, and it would expand to 12 games by 24 teams. Yeah, it's very, very confusing. I don't like this. I think this is dumb. I think that everybody thinks this is dumb, right? The 64.
Yeah, I don't know who's asking for this.
The 68 team tournament is the perfect format. I think it shouldn't get more perfect than that.
Hot take, we don't even need the 4 extra teams. We don't even need it.
Sure.
It could just be 64.
Sure,
It doesn't
but
need to be 68.
And most people don't even really consider those, like you. And so the actual tournament itself, it's perfect. It's the most perfect playoff product we have in all of sports. And now it's being tampered with. And last year should have been the perfect example, man. All these debates of like, oh, should Auburn get in even though they, were like 4 games under in their conference play? And should this team get in? Should that team get in? All of the bubble teams last year stunk. They all were bad. None of them made any noise in the tournament. That should have been the perfect indication that we don't need to expand because the teams we're putting in the tournament are not even good teams. They don't deserve to be there.
Well, you know what I think is also a little bit of BS? The entire Pete Thamel article was talking about how this is not a money-motivating thing. This is not for financial revenue. This is not for financial gain. And then slightly it'll say, but there will be some. Like, no, you can't do that. This is 100% just for the money sake of it. I don't even know what for, but this is obviously for a financial reason.
Right.
It's also to just appease the Big Ten and SEC who freak out when they don't have their 500 conference teams. Like their teams that go 500 within the conference make the tournament. It's like a hot take. If you go under 500 in any conference, I don't think you should be in the tournament.
No, exactly. Yeah, you go under 500 in your league.
Or 500 for that matter.
Well, yeah, I mean, no team that's gone under 500 in general is making the tournament. But, like, it's just...
Well, I mean 500 in your league.
Oh, yes,
like
yes.
13-13.
Totally,
12
yeah.
and 12,
I'm with you. And it sounds like this says that traditional at-large teams that would make the regular 64-team tournament, well, now some of them are going to have to play earlier than once it is hitting the 64-day final here. Like, some of those teams will be in the play-in tournament, essentially. And we talked about this before the show, but, like, hypothetically, the little guys should be excited for this. The mid-majors, they should be excited because, hey, maybe our league can be a 2-bid league this year because of the more expanded tournaments. No, it's just all going to be Power 4, Power 5 teams that get these 12 extra spots.
Yeah, it's going to be Auburn, a team that went 500 in their conference last year, right? Or did they go?
They went under 500.
Yeah, it's just opening the door for Big Ten and SEC teams that weren't very good to make the tournament.
It's messed up, man. It makes me upset.
I don't like it.
Okay, let's move to the NBA thing. The NBA has announced a new, and this is not approved yet, they plan on proposing this to the 30 GMs across the sport, a 3-2-1 lottery system. Here's how it works. I thought it was confusing at first. I think it makes pretty good sense, though.
Yeah.
If you finish in the bottom 3, this should be called a 2-3-1, by the way. I don't like how they worded it 3-2-1. If you finish as a bottom 3 team, you get 2 lottery balls apiece. Teams 1 through 3, you get 2 lottery balls. The teams 4 through 10, they get 3 lottery balls, a.k.a. the teams that are not super bad, they're just like kind of pretty bad, they actually have a better chance of winning the lottery than the bottom 3 teams.
But they can fall further back in the lottery as well.
Correct. They can fall all the way back to pick 16. The lottery has been expanded to pick 16. Teams 1 through 3 can only fall back to pick 12. And then the rest of it, teams 11 through 16, it would be, well, they still get 2 balls apiece, but then teams 15 and 16 get 1 ball, a.k.a. 2 playoff teams could win the lottery. If they did this year, the Orlando Magic would have a lottery ball. They could beat the Pistons as the 8th seed, go to the second round of the playoffs, hell, go to the conference finals, and then win the lottery.
I love this. I think it helps the teams that are stuck in for this 8 seed thing specifically, the teams that are stuck in mediocrity, where it's just like we're stuck in hell, where we don't want to sell the farm and be terrible, but we're just clearly not good enough to get over the hump. It helps those teams out because you get a little chance to win the lottery, which I think is good for those teams because it doesn't incentivize just selling everybody and restarting it yet again. And it also punishes the teams slightly that are incompetent and are just trying to lose games. If you have the worst record in the league in January this past season, there's no incentive for you to win another game. Just keep losing. Now it's like, hey man, we can get an extra lottery ball if we continue winning and get out of this worst 3 record. You're right, teams will find a way to tank no matter what. I think this helps the final 2-3 months of the year, though. I like everything that I hear from this.
There's also the rules that no team can win the lottery in consecutive years, and no team can pick inside the top 5 3 years in a row.
Figure it out. Stop being incompetent.
Here's my take. They can't figure it out with this system. The bad teams are going to be bad for longer now. Because what's the number one way to stop being bad? Winning the lottery. Getting a top pick. Those teams now will not get a top pick. The Brooklyn Nets, they're going to be bad for a long time if this went into play this year. There's no hope for them to get out of this.
But it's not like they can't win the lottery. They can win the lottery any one of these years.
Sure, but the odds of them winning the lottery are much worse. And it's
not
just
much worse.
I think a lot of this
worse.
tanking stuff, sure, like teams play bad, like they, the tanking, they're not competing in the second half of the season. They're not just not competing because they're not trying to. Their teams are bad. Like, they tank in the offseason.
It went to a degree, to a different degree this year.
The Utah Jazz stuff was bad when they just benched all their starters.
The Grizzlies stuff was bad.
Sure, but, like, a lot of these the Washington Wizards roster is just terrible. Like, I don't think this is changing teams winning 15 games every year. Like, that's still going to happen, whether you think it's ethical or not.
Washington traded for 2 players who never played for them in order to tank.
They're not going to do that again?
I think they don't want to finish as a worst 3 team.
Right.
It incentivizes winning in the second half of the year for the bad teams.
Sure. I can't really get behind, I was the 4th worst team instead of the 3rd worst team, so now I'm getting rewarded for that.
Win more games.
What are we doing?
Don't be incompetent.
I won 22 games instead of 21, and I'm getting rewarded for it.
You should. You shouldn't be rewarded for being incompetent.
This is going to be overall bad for the league.
I disagree.
It's going to make the bad teams even worse. It's going to make them bad for even longer.
No, because it'll force them to actually like Utah for the 7th year in a row has just been like, nah, we're just rebuilding this thing. They haven't gone for it. Now it's going to force them like, hey, we didn't win the lottery. We actually have to try to win now. This.
How are they going to do that? How are they going to try to win? Because no one's going to want to trade their pick now. Why would I want to trade my pick if I can be a playoff team and win the lottery? If I can barely miss the playoffs.
Lottery's in May, right?
Yeah, it's going to happen during the playoffs, I think, at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, now, I think this is going to make teams not make trades as much. There's going to be less trades now. I wouldn't want to trade
probably for the best
pick.
as well.
But
Stop
then how
trading
are
your
teams,
picks, morons?
But like you said, then these teams have to get forced to make moves and get better. How are they going to get better when they don't want to trade their pick and yet their team is bad? How do you get better?
It's not like
and you
I
can't
think,
get the
I think
top
you're
pick.
overestimating if you're a top 3 team or a bottom 3 team, you have 2 lottery balls instead of 3. It's not like you just are eliminated from winning the lottery. You're still going to be able to.
You have the same odds as the 12th worst team to win the lottery. You have the same exact odds. Whereas right now, if you're the worst team in the league, you have substantially better odds to win the lottery.
Okay, but this is better to me.
It is still a lottery at the end of the day. Yes.
This is better to me than the half the league not trying at the end of the year and there being 17-point spreads every game.
That's still going to happen. The teams are still going to suck. The teams are still going to be bad.
But
this doesn't magically make the teams better.
It doesn't make them better, but it'll prevent them from being like, you know what, we're just not playing anybody anymore, which 10 teams were doing down the stretch of last season. You had Memphis doing it. You had Utah doing it. You had, name your team that didn't make the playoffs. Every single one of these teams was just like, no, the lineups we are running out there are atrocious and a joke to the sport of basketball. That I don't think will be happening anymore, which will actually lead to competitive games down the stretch of the season, rather than you can write in 3 wins here because these teams suck and are trying to lose. That's all, you got to pick one or the other. You can't have it both ways of competitive games towards the end of the season and a fair, worst team gets the best lottery odds, because then it just incentivizes teams to lose more.
Yeah.
989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live on the Mitt. We'll get to some more Mitt messages when we come back. And the Detroit Lions making a couple decisions on some 2023 draftees here on the Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on one. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
So the Lions have made two different decisions on two different 2023 draft picks. They're two first-rounders, Jack Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs. The Lions are going to pick up Jahmyr Gibbs' fifth-year option, which is going to make him a running back that's guaranteed about $14 million this season. I have made my stance very clear. I'd be hesitant to just hand out the long-term contract. I'd like to see him play his fourth year, and then I'd like to see him pick up that fifth-year option. And then I'd like to franchise tag him, and then we'll see what happens from that point forward. I'm always just going to be hesitant to paying a running back a long-term contract because we haven't seen it happen since, it's been over a decade, right? Saquon, top five back that got drafted, first-round back that got drafted, ended up on a different team. Derrick Henry, same thing. Like, go up and down the list. Every single one of these running backs, none of them get their second contracts. There's no example of what happens. Josh Jacobs, I guess Jonathan Taylor did, but it wasn't. That got really messy too. It wasn't like the 4-year rookie extension because he got tagged as well. I'd be hesitant to do it. I'd play this thing out and just keep kicking it down the road. And that seems to be what they're doing because they're declining Jack Campbell's fifth-year option, and they're just working towards a fifth-year, working towards just a straight-up extension with Jack Campbell because the linebacker market's all messed up. Outside linebackers are included. There's like a formulaic, based on Pro Bowl appearances, some of your stats, highest paid linebackers, all that stuff. It just all gets formulated, and Jack Campbell would have been making $22 million a season if they were to pick up his fifth-year option, which would make him the highest off-ball linebacker in the NFL because the way the formula is included, it includes outside linebackers like T.J. Watt, who are mostly just edge rushers. So they're declining that. They want the extension. They're picking up Jahmyr Gibbs' fifth-year option. We'll see what happens with the extension, but the report is that they're working towards one with him.
Which we always felt was going to be the case this offseason, right? With the amount of guys that the Lions have to extend, or at least have the ability to extend this offseason, it felt like Jack Campbell was priority number one, right?
Yeah. We've been on this train for over a year.
Right.
That if there's one person from this draft class that's guaranteed to get an extension. I said this before he had his breakout season where he was an all-pro guy. Like, yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy that they drafted to be the captain of the defense one day. Yeah. He's not going anywhere.
It makes way too much sense. You lose Alex Anzalone, so obviously that means Jack Campbell is fully embracing, he embraced being the leader of that group last year, but now it's like full bore, go for it. That guy's here for quite some time, and yeah, they do have some tough decisions to make, but that's not one of them. You're not going to pick up that fifth-year option, of course. That makes no sense. It's pretty dumb that those edge rushers get thrown into the group. Like, is Micah Parsons involved in that?
Maybe.
He's a weird one,
I don't think so.
That doesn't make sense to me. They got to figure that out.
It more so depends on the defense, like what defensive scheme you're running rather than it does what your job on the defense is.
It almost just makes it even a bigger reason why not to draft a linebacker in round one, right?
Yeah.
Because what's the point of the fifth-year option? That's the whole point. You draft a guy in round one is you get the fifth-year option.
Yeah, and if they play good, you're
never going to use it. Yeah, exactly. So if they play bad too, it's like you're obviously not going to pick it up. So, yeah, this is a no-brainer for Detroit. And honestly, picking up the Gibbs fifth year is a no-brainer too, especially following suit with what the Falcons did.
Yeah, I would just continue to monitor what the Falcons are doing with Bijan and just learn. Bijan. No, I thought we established this guy lost.
Yeah.
Lost, what is it?
The ability to tell us what his name is.
He lost the privilege to tell us how his name is.
Travis Etienne.
Etienne, yeah, who just openly admitted that he purposely wanted everyone to call him his name wrong for the last 3 years. Whatever it is. Bijan, I don't know. I would just be watching what Atlanta does with that and learning from their mistakes and following in their footsteps rather than paving the way with Gibbs. I'm not giving him his extension.
And it also feels like it totally could happen based off of, the Lions have a lot of decisions to make. So it would be easy to just say, let's just put this one on pause and see what goes down south in Atlanta, and then we'll figure it out. Whereas, okay, now we'll do the Jack Campbell stuff first. That'll take up some of our time. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do potentially with Brian Branch / Sam Laporta. We'll figure that out next. oh, Jahmyr Gibbs, like we have the luxury of him having him the 5th-year option. We don't have to think about it that hard quite yet. We'll see what goes on down there. That is, it feels like them picking up this 5th year, which was obviously going to happen, is like kicking the can down the road.
With Branch and Laporta, they almost have to figure it out a little bit faster because they don't have the ability to pick up their 5th-year options. That's the thing. And also, every day that we get removed from the Lions season, I think we kind of forget about how insane Jack Campbell was last year. He was just like head and shoulders better than any other off-ball linebacker in the NFL. So I do anticipate when they get this contract done, him to be either the highest or second highest paid linebacker in football with Fred Warner. I'm not going to be shocked at that at all. And then with Gibbs, it's like, yeah, it's only $14 million only, guaranteed. I'm not going to be surprised if this guy wins offensive rookie or offensive player of the year. Like, I will be taking that bet before the season starts. Now that David Montgomery's not here, unleashing him, the offensive line is patched up in a good way. They've got him in the receiving game as well. I don't really see what stands in the way of a 1,000 yard season for Jahmyr Gibbs.
Not at all. I mean, like you said, he's probably going to be, I mean, I don't know if they have those odds out right now. I would assume that he is one of the favorites to win this award going into the season, right?
I would guess it's still Bijan.
Right now, offensive player of the year, yes, it is Bijan. And then Gibbs is second, man. Gibbs is plus 1,000. He's second.
Oh, my God.
Second?
Sign me up right now.
And Puka's behind him? Like, oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, plus 1,000 for him to win this. I'm just, take my money now, whatever sportsbook you want to use.
It's funny, though, like the top 2 guys for offensive player of the year, and I think a lot of people would say these are the 2 best backs in the NFL. I mean, I would assume so, at least.
They're the 2 best backs from I don't know from a skill standpoint, but from they don't have the mileage on them standpoint.
Sure.
100%.
Like if you had to take one, like if I'm starting a franchise, boom, I'd want one of these guys, you know? And so the fact that both of those guys are potentially going to be signing extensions this offseason, both of them were taken extremely high as running backs. It's worked out for both of the teams, but it's going to be interesting to see for both of them how their off seasons go down.
I feel like this is the Spider-Man meme of Atlanta and the Lions, the GMs looking at each other like, are you going to do it?
What are you going to do?
Are you going to pay
Who's
them?
going to do it first?
989-837-6125.
They got to get another lefty quarterback, Atlanta does, before they make any type of decision.
Another? They already have 2.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're addicted to it.
Maybe they can pick up a third one. I don't know. There's got to be some free agent that's available.
Dylan Gabriel's got to be available, right?
989-837-6125. Ben Bosscher Show, live as always, is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Live on YouTube, Facebook. Search us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you get your social media. We'll be there.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mix.
Easy Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mint. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
We will get to more Mint messages here shortly. But I want to talk a little bit about the Tigers game last night. A couple big injuries happened. Casey Mize leaves the game with a groin injury. Didn't look like anything like super apparent happened, but that seems like a 10-day IL situation waiting to happen. And then Javi Baez trying to get under. It looked like he got caught between wanting to just duck under the throw that was to first, that was a little high, and wanting to slide in to first, which is usually just not a good idea. And he got caught in between in a decision and ended up rolling up on top of his ankle, his cleat got stuck in the bag, and then he kind of rolled up on top of it. Look, I'm going to sit here and really hope that it's an ankle sprain, high ankle sprain, foot sprain, something of that sort. I don't even want to say like what my biggest fear is, because that would be, Javi Baez doesn't really play the rest of the season, but he had to get carted out. We don't really know what happened. He's getting MRIs today. Suddenly, this team's pretty banged up. Zach McKinstry, he's eligible to return at any time, but still not on the team as of right now. Javi Baez could be out for who knows how long. Casey Mize out for who knows how long. Luckily, Justin Verlander should be coming back somewhat soon. Troy Melton is on a healthy path, even though he's still got another month or so left. We got another positive update, too. Jackson Jobe threw his first bullpen session. And if he's already doing that in April, I feel pretty confident that he can come back at some point this season. Then all of a sudden you have this starting pitcher influx to where you have Casey Mize once he comes back. Hopefully it's only 10 days, misses 2 starts, maybe a little bit more. Hopefully nothing more. Casey Mize, Jack Flaherty, who should be strapped on a rocket and sent to moon. Tarek Skubal, Valdez. Who's the 5th starter I'm missing? Oh, I guess Kiter, Justin Verlander, that's 6. And then Jackson Jobe as well, with the Troy Melton wild card thrown in there. There's 8 starting caliber pitchers. It's a good problem to have, but I'm just like looking at what this team is going to look like down the line. I have no idea. I have no idea what this starting rotation is going to look like by the end of the year at all. Is Jackson Jobe someone who could come out of the pen? Would they move Flaherty there because he, as we've talked about relentlessly for 3 years, cannot see through the lineup for the 3rd time without getting lit up? Is Verlander an option to come out of the pen? Like, I have no idea what they're going to do with this pitching influx, but it exists, and it's a problem they're going to run into at some point this year.
Yeah, with the Jobe stuff, it's hard to include him in this just because, yes, the bullpen session is it's encouraging.
I mean, that's a real sign.
Yeah, it still was reported yesterday that he's still not expected back anytime until after the All-Star break, which likely means post-trade deadline as well. And that means the Tigers could still get aggressive and make some sort of move at the deadline if guys like Jack Flaherty aren't figuring things out or if there's injuries going on. And so
Scott Harris aggressive at the deadline?
Good point.
What?
At least making a move to acquire a pitcher. Maybe that's a better way of phrasing it. And so, yeah, it is very interesting based off of Mize going out. I'm hoping that this is just like a Mize misses a start, maybe doesn't even hit the IL. But it
didn't seem egregious. He kind of just abruptly was like, yeah, I'm leaving.
Yeah, which is what typically happens, especially early in the season. There's no point in taking any sort of risk. It's a long year. You have something going on, whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll get somebody else into the game. They don't really have another starter right now. That's what makes things odd. Like, if he were to go on IL, maybe it would be like, hey, Verlander.
How's that hip feeling?
Sure hope you're ready to go right now, or else Drew Anderson is about to be starting for us.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Or, of course, maybe some guy from the minors gets brought up. But, I mean, some of those guys have still been rehabbing back. Like a Sawyer Gibson-Long has started games in the past. I believe he's still rehabbing. So
guy's always hurt.
And that's the weird part right now with the Javi Baez situation, too, because it's like, man, without all these injuries, like, think about the guys that are injured right now for the Tigers, at least that are on the 40-man. Zach McKinstry, Trey Sweeney.
Right.
Parker Meadows. These guys play the position that Javi Baez did. Like, Javi Baez was the backup center fielder and the backup shortstop, basically. It's essentially what his role was, where he still played those positions a lot. And so right now, the Tigers don't have a single other guy that can play shortstop on the 40-man, let alone on the MLB roster.
Other than Kevin McGonigal.
Yeah, outside of McGonigal, which he doesn't even play that position every single day. He plays third a good amount of the time.
Get ready to play shortstop every day, McGonigal. So there's a couple different options that they can have. One is Zach McKinstry. He's eligible to come off the IL. He's been on the IL for 10 days, and that's what the version of the IL he got put on.
Did you see that he was the hitter that was in the live session against Job?
I did see that.
Yeah.
So encouraging sign for both. Maybe it's just Zach McKinstry comes back, and that's the one-for-one swap with the Javi Baez
Feels
injury.
the most likely.
But if Zach McKinstry is not ready today, I guess they could call him up and still give him one extra day off. But there's a couple different options they could go to. Gage Workman's kind of like a journeyman in a way. He's been in came up through the Tigers organization. Rule 5 guy, ended up on the Cubs, then on the White Sox, then they DFA'd him. And then he ended up back in the Tiger system. He's raking down in AAA right now, so he could come be the shortstop.
Old man too, right?
26 years old, yeah. Or you just say, Kevin McGonigal, you're going to be playing shortstop every day. We need a new center fielder because Wenzel Perez, although he did hit a home run last night.
Right, yeah, garbage time one.
Garbage time home run. Wenzel Perez still, even with 2 home runs, has not been a very productive player. I was pretty adamant last night. I was like, yes. Once again, we're going to have the Max Clark conversation. He is ready. He's still, even though he just went into one of the crazier slumps you'll see, still finding a way to hit over 300 right now. Still has an 850-plus OPS. I was totally ready. A spark for the Tigers. And then he had one of the most egregious fly ball errors in center field last night in Toledo. And I was like, you know what? Maybe he's not ready. As Scott Harris said pretty blatantly yesterday in an interview with MLB.com. I think it happens at some point this year. That interview makes me say it's not going to happen anytime soon. Even though I'm not opposed to the idea of bringing guys up for short-term stints. And I know like most teams are very against that, bringing guys up without them being fully ready. But considering the circumstance with the injuries, I'd just be like, hey, Max, like here's a tryout. You're probably getting sent back down. Come play for us for 2 weeks and we'll see what happens. You get a little taste of it. You get a little taste of what Major League Baseball's like. Then you're going back down. Just be upfront with him about it. But based on what Scott Harris had to say about him, just probably not happening for a while.
That interview obviously happening prior to the injury of Javi Baez going down, and so now a decision has to be made. But like to his point, I mean, that's something that you do with your 5th or 6th prospect. You know, like, hey, we'll bring you up right now. Here's a try. That's something you do with Hao-Yu Lee. You know, we'll bring you up until Zach McKinstry's healthy. And you're probably just going to get sent back down unless you, like, really, really go off. Then we'll have a tough decision to make. You don't do that with your number 1 prospect, I don't think. Not only your number 1 prospect, but is going to be a maybe top 5 prospect in baseball once the new list comes out. Because a lot of these guys at the top of this list, Connor Griffin, Kevin McGonigal, J.J. Weatherholt, they played in the majors. And Clark is currently the number 8 guy. So likely to be a top 5 prospect in baseball. When you bring that guy up, he's brought up. He's here to stay. He's playing in the lineup every day. And that is where the cliche thing of, like, I don't know if he's ready comes. Because, yeah, the numbers would say he's ready to, like, be a part of the team. Is he ready to be the starting center fielder every day?
That I don't know.
And that's what it is. Because a top prospect in baseball doesn't come up to play for 3 weeks and play in the lineup every once in a while. Like, you're here to be here every day. It's tough. It feels like a wrong reason to bring him up, you know? Even though the stars are aligning, it doesn't feel right for this to be like, nah, this is why we're going to bring you up.
It's bizarre that 2 center fielders can get hurt, your top 2 guys, plus the 3rd guy, although he had a home run yesterday, has just been a disaster out there, Wenzel Perez, and we still aren't going to do it. That's where I'm like, this is just the stars are aligning for it to potentially happen, but it's not going to happen is the thing. So I think it's either Zach McKinstry or Gage Workman ending up as a potential shortstop option for the Tigers on days Kevin McGonigal's not just out there. But I think it's way more likely that McGonigal's just playing shortstop every single day until Javi comes back. And I pray to God that's within the next month. Because I think the way that, you know, just eye test-wise, that's either an ankle sprain and he'll be back relatively soon, or something way worse just happened. And I don't even want to speak it out loud. But it was pretty scary.
Yeah, it could be bad, and it could just be like a sprained ankle, and he's out for a month. Like, that also could happen as well. So we're going to have to find out at some point today, not only the situation on Javi, but what is the situation on who they're bringing up.
Yeah.
Because they play a baseball game today.
The night game, right?
Yeah,
Not so late.
7:15 again. Scooble Bump Day.
Scooble Bump Day. 989-837-6125. Here's the deal. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back and give tickets away for the Tigers game this Sunday. Sunday night baseball, Kyle. You ever been to a Sunday night baseball game?
I have. David Ortiz hit a home run about 3 rows in front of me out in right field. They lost. Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than Comerica Park for night games, especially if it's nice weather. I think Sunday's supposed to be kind of nice. They're playing Texas, so it's Texas, 7:20 on Peacock. You don't have to listen to, you don't get to listen to, I guess I should say, Jason Minetti, because you're going to be there if you win our tickets. All you got to do is text in the keyword to 989-837-6125. We will reveal the keyword when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, would you look at that? It's 10:15, which means we're giving away tickets to the Tigers game this Sunday thanks to our friends over at Garber Chevrolet. Today's key word is text in Sunday. Text in Sunday to 989-837-6125. Comerica Park, Sunday night game. Oh, it's going to be a good time. Casey Mize is scheduled to start. Who do we think ends up doing that?
I mean, hopefully it's just Casey Mize, right?
I don't think it's going to be Casey Mize.
But,
if you're lucky, it's Justin Verlander. That's like best case scenario for whoever wins these tickets, right?
Yeah. Or
the home
hear
debut
me
of
out.
Justin Verlander.
Hear me out. First pitching by chaos game of the year on Sunday Night Baseball.
Doesn't that mean Drew Anderson's an opener?
Yeah, probably. Little Tyler Holt, little Brant Herter, maybe. Sounds
AJ
fun to
Hinch
me.
just in his bag.
I'd
just
wanna
like,
go to
let's
that.
go.
Yeah.
The managerial off.
I feel like AJ Hinch fiends for the pitching by chaos games. He's like, oh man, Casey Mize went out. Dang it, that stinks. Dang it, now we have to do.
And then
Oh wait,
has
Verlander's
the
not
Grinch
ready.
smile. He's like,
yeah. Oh, Verlander's not ready to come back. Oh man, we have to pitch 5 different relievers in the first 5 innings of the game.
yeah. Meanwhile, he has 9 pinch hit opportunities. I know that's impossible, but he has 4 pinch hits. Every single person on the entire roster plays on Sunday Night Baseball. Non-possible. Hey, Big Win Wednesday is possible thanks to our friends over at Garber Chevrolet. I can tell you from firsthand experience, they make buying a car extremely easy over at Garber Chevrolet. No one's taking advantage of you. They're just trying to make sure you walk away with the best car that fits your budget, your price, your needs. Whatever you need, they're going to be able to hook you up. Whether you need a new car, you want a used vehicle, that's what I ended up going with. It's no stress. It's just really straightforward. The team knows how to get you the right stuff and treats you the right way. That's Garber Chevrolet, a place you can actually trust to purchase your ride. We'll pick a winner here in the next 5 or so minutes. Until then, let's keep talking about this Tigers situation with the injuries. I if I had to guess, like if I had to bet on it, I'd say Zach McKinstry's probably just taken off the IL today, right? And it's a 1-for-1 swap. Hey, Javi's gone, but here's Zach McKinstry back, and then he's just kind of back into the lineup every day.
That feels most likely, especially because, I mean, like you said, McKinstry is eligible to come back, and he has been taking reps. I don't think he's needed for a rehab stint by any means because he was just put on the 10-day IL. Yeah, that would be number one most likely to me, except it always is nice to give a guy an opportunity to make a debut. And now, it's not going to be the MLB debut for Gage Workman if he does come up, so maybe that would be an incentive to keep him down. But it is, like, teams are always looking to do that, right? If there's an opportunity to give a guy his major league debut, even if it's for a 3-game series, like,
what are we doing here? Handing out flowers and participation trophies as the Tigers fighting to be in first place in their division? What are we doing?
It's not a participation trophy. The guy is, like, a good baseball player in the minor leagues right now. And there's a situation for him to come.
Yeah.
Like, if McKinstry's not ready to go, like,
That's the thing. If McKinstry's not ready to go, if he is, I don't think this, like, is a decision.
Obviously. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. Garrett in our YouTube chat says, the most logical thing is McGonigal would just play everyday shortstop, and Hao-Yu Lee would stay at third every game, likely until Z-Mac is back.
Cole Keith, Hao-Yu Lee, platoon at third base.
Yeah, and hey, McGonigal, I know you've only gotten like 1 day off all year, but no days off.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
None.
it'd have to be.
Yeah.
They just, it's a little scary to not have a single other shortstop on the roster.
Yeah, exactly. Like, does Hao-Yu Lee have any experience playing short? I
I don't think so. I
does
think he's
Colt
always
Keith have
been a
any
third.
experience playing short? I don't think so.
Oh, God, no. Please never.
Is
I
Matt
don't wanna see
Vierling
that.
really that big of a utility guy? You know who's got experience playing shortstop, Ben? Wenzel Perez has some middle infield. Used to be a middle infielder in the minor leagues coming up.
Can't be that much worse than his outfielding. He's
Yeah.
like number one. Like, if he's out there, I'm petrified there's going to be a collision at some point.
Really? See, that's just Jemai Jones for me.
Oh, really?
Well, I guess-
I don't think he's going to get
I think
the
he's
ball.
just the worst outfield. Yeah, you're right. For a collision, yeah, you might be right with the Wenzel Perez thing.
or
yeah.
Matt Vierling, or Carpenter. Like, any one of those guys, it feels like they
Perez
play
was
with
the one
fire
who caught.
all the time.
We talked about this with Chris the other day, but Perez, I believe, was the guy who caught the ball when
clinch a playoff
when
spot?
they clinched the playoffs, right?
And he ran into who?
When they collided.
Carey?
I think it might have been Riley, maybe Carey. Yeah, either way, yeah. I mean, the
Oh,
outfield.
no, it would have
in
been
general.
Parker, wouldn't it? Yeah, Parker was an everyday player at that point.
I don't remember. I mean, he could have got pinch hit out of the game. It's AJ Hinch. I just thought it was Perez for some reason.
I don't think
But yeah.
there's a team that puts fear into more fans regarding the outfield collisions. But that kind of goes to the general point. Like, they started the season so healthy, and now look what's happened. Justin Verlander, Zach McKinstry, Javi Baez, Casey Mize all have dealt with injuries since the season started. I don't love that, man.
Yeah.
I do not love that.
What would you put the percentages on for the Tigers' corresponding move today?
68% Zach McKinstry's just back.
68.
32% Gage Workman is being called up and playing in the Tigers uniform for the first time.
No percent for Max Clark. 0%.
1% for Max. I mean, it
is
0%.
It's 0.
Scott Harris
he told
literally
us to our
said
face,
yesterday
yeah.
he's not ready. And then he proceeded to drop the most routine fly ball you could possibly imagine in shallow center field.
Which, look, this is going to be one of the few times where I'm going to trust Scott Harris on this one. Because I want
He's earned our trust.
When Max Clark is called up, I want it to be like they're ready for him. Like they believe that he's here because when they do that, that means he's here to stay. And I want that to be at a pivotal time. Like we set the June 1st date. I'm starting to think
That's after.
I think it's going to be after June 1st. Yeah.
When's the All-Star break?
He's going to get ready in 1 full month, like just be ready to go. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's more like July 15th as the who knows date. That's where the new over-under is at. So congratulations to anyone who took the over. You're probably going to be right about that June 1st date.
Yeah. Yeah, probably an All-Star break, trade deadline type of thing.
All right, you got a couple more minutes to text in Sunday to 989-837-6125 for a chance to win the tickets. I was so excited to do a Max Clark segment, and then I realized that Scott Harris literally hours before was like, yeah, no, he's just not ready. And anyone who thinks that's a moron, he's not ready. And I was like, okay. And then he dropped the routine fly ball. I was like, great.
But that was before Javi got hurt, you know?
It was
What
before
if Gage
Javi got hurt.
Workman's not ready?
Well,
Have
if
we
Gage
thought about
Workman's
that?
not ready, man, I got news for Gage Workman. He might have to start doing
Is he
something
ever
else
gonna
other
be
than
ready?
playing baseball. He's been on quite the journey, too. 26 years old, came up through the Tigers farm system. Rule 5 guy, so he just got picked up by the Cubs. Played a little bit for them. They were like, we don't want him anymore. They traded him to the White Sox. The White Sox were like, we don't really want him anymore, so they DFA'd him. Then Tigers were like, we'll take him back. Sounds like a great fit for our minor league system. He's 26 years old. Perfect. He'll be great.
Yeah, let's send him to West Michigan right now. Dude played for the Whitecaps 5 years ago. In 2021 was on the Whitecaps.
And it's still just hitting the drum down there in AAA in Toledo.
Is he right-hander?
That I'm not sure of. I've definitely seen him at this ballpark before, but I don't remember if he's a righty
Because,
or lefty.
I mean, I think that plays. Like, Hinch usually tries to make these moves. He's a lefty bat.
So maybe he's not
left-handed
getting
bat.
brought up.
This is interesting.
There's going to be a fun corresponding move today
Yeah.
if Javi does. Well, when Javi does hit the IL. 989-837-6125. Let's pick a winner here. We'll tell you who it is when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mid. Already told you that Big Win Wednesday is possible thanks to our friends at Garber Chevrolet. What I haven't told you that is my plans after the show today. That's to head to the Greater Midland Community Center, your hub for health, wellness, and fun, right here in the heart of Midland. I'm thinking maybe a little back day at the gym today. Got the cables, they've got the weights. You know, it's not super warm outside today, so maybe walk around on the track or the treadmill. Never running out of space upstairs. And then afterwards, maybe shoot some hoops. Could sit in the sauna for a little bit. If I'm really feeling it, bring the suit, hit in the hot tub for a while. Whatever it is you need, the Greater Midland Community Center has it for you. If you're hosting an event, ask about their rental spaces, full-service event support. Stay active, stay connected, all under one roof at the Greater Midland Community Center.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
One more time, thanks to our friends at Garber Chevrolet for making Big Win Wednesday possible. Our winner today, sending him to the Tigers game on Sunday at Comerica Park against the Rangers, is Matthew. Thanks for texting in, Matt. Have fun at the game. Next week, more curveball collectible cards that we're excited to. We'll open some packs on the show again, Kyle. We'll give away the Grand box to somebody next week. Excited about that as well.
Maybe we'll learn a thing or two about, like what cards are good and what aren't before then.
Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see what happens. Until then, let's take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
So there's been a lot of Rams chatter lately. I think Colin 3 days in a row has led his show with Rams, Ty Simpson. What's going on here? Is Sean McVay upset? I want to go over the history of teams that have done this, drafted their predecessor quarterback while they have a valid option at quarterback right now. And let's just look at the history of this to see if this is going to work out for the Rams, Ty Simpson, and Matthew Stafford and all parties. So the most recent example is a couple years ago when the Atlanta Falcons had Kirk Cousins in their building and decided with the 8th overall pick on a team that was not ready to contend to win the division or go to the playoffs, still haven't been to the playoffs since they went to the Super Bowl, they decided to take Michael Penix. Safe to say that one failed miserably.
Yeah, I mean that one's obvious, but also like it failed from both perspectives. That one was different because it's not like their quarterback was already in the room. They signed Cousins that offseason.
Yeah,
and then also drafted Penix. Like that one's an all-time weird one, and both options didn't work.
That one was dumb when it happened, and it looks even worse now. That's not the way to do it. The way to do the predecessor thing is you have to have you have to have a healthy organization, sustained success, a good infrastructure around both the quarterback, and a quarterback you can trust to, not get salty when you draft somebody else. That's the way it has to work. So 0 for 1 so far. The second most recent time, Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers was 36 years old. He proceeded to get pissed off and win 2 MVPs. And then he proceeded to tear the house down and demand a trade. I'd say it worked out for the Packers, strangely. As upset as it made Aaron Rodgers, it lit a fire under him, plus they got their franchise quarterback, Jordan Love.
Yeah, I mean, this one totally worked out, right? I understand, like, we can feel however we want to feel about Jordan Love. He is a franchise quarterback. Like, he is their quarterback. They don't have any worry of moving off of Jordan Love, right? So
you remember the end of last year?
I guess you're right. The Malik Willis stuff was real. That's a good point, actually. But yeah,
it's more so how much money he's making.
And it's like they did it twice. Like the only reason why people I think really get attached to the Jordan Love thing is because of the Favre Rodgers thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, they did it again. Like, no, they didn't do it again. Let's be clear here.
How did they not
Favre and
do it
Rodgers
again?
are two of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and Jordan Love is not. So they didn't do it again. Let's separate those two things.
Favre, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever? Really?
Hey, he's better than Jordan Love.
Still?
I mean, like, we're not thinking about all the... Yeah.
What? All the off-the-field stuff?
We'll keep his off-the-field, Medicare stuff off the field, all that stuff.
The Medicare stuff's just one of the many things.
Right.
This is maybe the best example of it ever happening, more than the Rodgers-Favre thing. Joe Flacco was the Ravens quarterback. At age 33, here's Lamar Jackson, passed up by every other team in the NFL. The Ravens take him at 32. And this is about as golden as you can possibly, this is the situation to do it with. Flacco wasn't bad at that time.
Yeah, I mean, he had won them a Super Bowl as well.
He gets injured. Lamar takes the starting job halfway through the season, his rookie year, never looks back. This is the most ideal situation. And it's funny, too, because it's like two totally different styles of playing quarterback.
Totally. And at the time, the Lamar Jackson draft pick was one of the most polarizing things there was. Everyone thought he should go at the top of the draft. Some people thought the guy shouldn't even play quarterback.
Yeah, they thought he should play receiver.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone who said that probably shouldn't.
Which is the most. I mean, Lamar Jackson is one of the better pocket passers in the NFL today. Yeah, it's so funny how that one worked out. And the funniest part is Joe Flacco, you said, was 33 at the time of that, and the guy has played for every other team in the NFL since then. Still around, still kicking, man. Joe Flacco.
Where is he now? The Bengals?
Dude was Baltimore's whole career, and now he's played for so many other teams since then.
Where is he now? Where is he backing up?
He's back in Cincy. Yeah, Joe Burrow's backup. It's a good spot to be, man.
And then he'll get traded. He'll get traded back to the Browns at some point.
Then he'll go to the Jets, be a part of that quarterback room. Yeah.
The year before, Chiefs have Alex Smith. They're, I don't know about a true contender, but winning their division every year.
Smith was good.
At 32 years old, they take Patrick Mahomes. The rest is history.
Yeah, this one's okay.
So for the most part, other than the Penix thing, this typically works out. You want to know why? Because all these teams are well-run organizations. I don't know about good owners, but the owners that have hired the right people, strong head coaches, consistently draft well. The Packers, the Ravens, the Chiefs, that's about as sustainable a success as you can imagine in the NFL. All right, the next one. Carson Wentz, Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford is 29. Carson Wentz immediately takes over because they traded Bradford before the season started. I'd say this one worked out too.
Does this one count?
Yes, it counts.
I mean, Wentz was the second overall pick. You're drafting a second overall pick to play quarterback right away. That one to me was...
They didn't have to take the quarterback, though, I guess is the point.
Sure, I guess that's fair. To me, that one feels a little bit of course Carson Wentz is going to take over. Where all the other ones, it's I don't know when the other quarterback is going to take over.
Because they took Nick Foles later on in this draft. It's not they didn't have to take a quarterback, I guess was the
Sure.
point of this one. And
Sure.
I would say, even though the Carson Wentz, career arc,
Wentz was great in Philly. Like it
Incredible.
Everyone has to remember the year that Wentz had the year they won the Super Bowl. Like
he was winning MVP before he got
Wentz
hurt.
Wentz was awesome that year, and then he just became a really bad quarterback after that.
Yeah, because he wanted to scramble
Yeah.
more often than not when he shouldn't have been. Here's where we start to get into the failures, and notice these are teams that you don't necessarily trust to constantly be good. Blaine Gabbert, David Garrard,
Gerard, yeah.
Gerard, yeah. Right away. Garrard was released after training camp. Didn't really work out.
Blaine Gabbert already being the starter in the first place. Like,
how about Jake Cutler and Jake Plummer?
couple of names right there.
Disaster.
Plummer, Washington?
What do you mean?
Like, is that where he went to school?
Oh, I have no idea.
He was a good college quarterback. I'm trying to remember now. I'll figure it out.
Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre.
Arizona State for Jake Plummer.
Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. That was a good one.
Yeah,
obviously.
not bad.
J.P. Losman and Drew Bledsoe with the Bills. Randall Cunningham and Dante Culpepper with the Vikings. Jim Druckenmiller and Steve Young for the 49ers. Tommy Maddox, John Elway for the Broncos. Recent history says if it's an organization you trust, if it's a good organization, this is going to work out. I don't know about you. I think the Rams are a pretty damn good organization and have been for about a decade.
I think most people feel that way. Yeah, and I think a lot of the good cases that you talk about there is the guy that currently is in place is not only an established good quarterback, but has been a part of the team for a while as well.
Yeah.
Like the most recent one that didn't work out, the Kirk Cousins-Penix one, well, we all questioned the Kirk Cousins contract when it got handed out, and that was before they even drafted Penix. Like, whoa, Atlanta's giving out that to Kirk Cousins? Is that how we're feeling about Kirk Cousins in the big 2-4? I think it would have been that year.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Like,
maybe 3.
all these other ones, you have Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Joe Flacco, Alex Smith. These guys were good quarterbacks, and they had been with that team for some time. So, like, the whole taking a guy under your wing thing is a lot easier to do when you know the franchise you're a good quarterback rather than, hey, Kirk Cousins, I know we just paid you a bunch of money, but we're probably going to replace you like halfway through the season.
Yeah, and I think the Stafford thing, he hasn't been there forever. He's won a Super Bowl with them, which counts as just like 3 extra years, I think.
Yes, 100%.
So
it almost feels like he's been there forever at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Jared Goff's been with the Lions forever.
Yeah.
I think my verdict is I think this is going to work out just fine for the Rams. I think Ty Simpson's the biggest winner of all of this because he had 15 starts in college. That's it. That's not enough to come play in the NFL right away. And now there's zero pressure on him to play for at least one more season. I'd say, I don't know, Stafford won MVP last year. I don't know why he couldn't play for another 2 years, God forbidding some crazy injury to Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
And he just gets to sit behind Stafford, learn from him and Sean McVay. I think he's the biggest winner of all this, and I think the Rams fans should be ecstatic, even though they didn't add someone in the draft with the first round to help him out. They added Trent McDuffie with their pick.
If they like Simpson, I'll trust it, man, because like you said, that's a good org. They do things right over there. They win, too. So.
Well, I don't think they would draft him if they didn't like him.
That is a good point.
All right, that's Around the League. As always, Around the League presented by Aired Insurance. They understand not everyone's insurance needs are the same. They want to work personally with you to create something best suited for your needs, whether it's life, home, auto, fiscal insurance. It's all available with the Aired Insurance Group with Farm Bureau Insurance.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and... on 100.9 The Mid.
The Lions have made their decision pretty easy. Pretty easy decisions coming down to their 2023 draftees. Jack Campbell, they're going to decline his fifth-year option, but fret not. It's not like they're just declining him and not letting him play for, the Lions for the foreseeable future. What they're doing is declining the fifth-year option because that would have been $22 million, which would have made him the highest-paid off-ball linebacker in the entire sport. Not to say that he doesn't deserve it, but they're probably just knocking down that fifth-year option, and then they're going to try to work him into the long-term extension. Here's a 4-year extension. We're not even doing the fifth-year option. Yeah, we could have another year on it, but that fully guaranteed option, it's just too much going into this upcoming, it would be 2027. So they declined that, working on a contract with him. And then with Gibbs, they basically say, yeah, we're going to pick this up. $14 million. They say, according to Dan Miller, who's reporting on this, they're going to try to get the long-term extension done. As I've said, I would be following behind Atlanta's footsteps, seeing what they do with Bijan Robinson. I would not just right now pick up his fifth-year option and be like, yep, here's a 4-year extension. We're giving Jahmyr Gibbs an extra 5-year deal. That's essentially what that would be. We're signing him through 31, and we're just going to cross our fingers and hope he stays healthy. Look, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is on track to have one of the best offensive seasons that any Lion has ever put up. That includes Megatron. That includes Barry. I think Jahmyr Gibbs this year is going to be up there, not like surpass them for best season, but like he could have one of those years this year now that Montgomery's not here. I don't see why 1,000, 1,000's off the table. I don't see why he can't go 1,500 and 1,000. Like big time numbers, lead the league in scrimmage yards. I'm just always going to be anti-handing out a running back what would essentially serve as a 6-year contract. So you still have year 4, you'd still have the 5th-year option, and then you'd have the 4 years on top of that as well. I'm just big no for me on that at all times.
Would you rather them try to get out in front of a Robinson extension in Atlanta that would be a 4-year, where Gibbs would be like, well, I'm getting a 4-year extension then. He got one, I want one. Whereas the Lions get out in front of it and say, hey, let's try to add 2 years on top of this. Maybe 3 years on top of this 5th-year option. Would you rather that be a route that they take, or do you think Gibbs is just going to not want to do anything that isn't a 4-year deal?
I don't think Gibbs would want to do anything that's not a 4-year deal, considering all of his teammates got 4-year extensions. I think,
yeah, but he has to. Look at what running backs are getting 4-year extensions.
None.
That's what I'm saying.
Thing.
That has to be recognized.
Which is why I would say, hey, Gibbs, you play your 4th year. We're picking up your 5th year. Then we're going to tag you. Then we'll figure it out. Then you can have your massive 3-year extension. We'll pay you just like the Eagles are paying Saquon. Like
the Cardinals are paying Jeremiah Love.
Right. You can have that sort of contract, but what we're not going to do is give you a 4-year deal and guarantee X amount of money. You can have the massive 2-year extension later on after we tag you a bunch of times, but we're not going to we're not doing this long-term deal with a running back. I'm always going to be out in that with how injury prone these guys end up being. And maybe that's being a little bit stingy of me, but look, they've paid everybody so far. They've been able to pay everybody so far. I think Gibbs, more than most other players that have been paid, deserves to be paid. It's unfortunately the position that he plays, being a running back. And yes, there's been a resurgence in being able to, rely heavily on running backs in the NFL and them mattering in a big-time way.
And getting drafted early, I think, has totally made a comeback as well.
I'm still just out on the idea of giving a running back a 5-year deal, which is what a 4-year extension would serve as with the 5th-year option.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Andrew in our YouTube chat earlier said, when we were talking about, the Campbell extension versus the Gibbs extension, he says Jack Campbell will most likely be able to play well into his 30s. How long will a running back last? Kind of to your point as well about the injuries thing.
How old is Saquon? He's on the other. No, he's 29. See, that's the thing.
29. Yeah, even Saquon feels like an old guy at this point.
Saquon is an old guy.
McCaffrey,
at this point.
Same draft class. McCaffrey feels like the oldest guy. He's not, but it feels like it just from how long he's been doing it,
And luckily, for the Lions' sake, they had Montgomery to take the pressure off of Gibbs for the first 3 years of his career, which I do think will extend his career. Derrick Henry, perfect example. Him and Mark Ingram splitting carries for the first year or so of his career, right? I think that's been able to extend Henry's career. Last year, he's 31. We've been waiting for him to fall off for years now. He never does.
Mark Ingram played for the Titans?
Right? Wasn't it Mark Ingram, and
Mark Ingram was with Kamara in New Orleans.
Derrick Henry was splitting reps with somebody.
Yeah, I don't think Ingram played for the Titans though, right?
It was somebody.
Yeah.
Either way, he didn't have like a full load of the offense right away for
second round pick.
the Titans.
Makes sense.
I like the fact that for the first 3 years of Gibbs' career, he wasn't like getting the snaps that like you just want to stay under the like have as few snaps as possible, have as few carries as possible, because once you get up into that 2,000 number, it gets pretty scary. Like there's a lot of history that says once you get to your 2,000th attempt or carry, reception, whatever it is, like you're just not the same guy. And with Gibbs, that clock was slowed down a little bit for the first 3 years of his career, which definitely excites me. But still, I don't think I'd be signing up to extend him through age 31 season right now by any means.
DeMarco Murray is who we were thinking
was.
of. He had a really good year too, by the way, like a pretty good year here in Tennessee. He was coming off of the really couple years he had in
It's 2016.
Dallas that were really good. Yeah. Henry only had less than 500 rushing yards as a rookie, like totally got worked in. So. Yeah, I'm with you though on this point. I'm just interested. Like it's one of those things that, I'm not gonna be excited if it happens, but I'm also not gonna be mad if they pay Gibbs, right? Like Gibbs is awesome.
No, I won't be mad about it.
Right? I mean, it's
so.
gonna be one of those things. It's like like dang. But your guy's locked up. A really good player's locked up at the end of the day. You can't be that mad about it
until he's hurt.
Sure. I mean, that feels like you could say. We can say that the position is injury prone. Gibbs himself has not shown that.
That's true.
It'd be different
if
it'd be different if the player, like if it was Brian Brandt, Sam Laporta that you're paying. Oh, okay, like that's a little bit scary. Those guys have shown to be a bit injury prone. And Sam Laporta specifically with the back injury, that just isn't something that gets healed up very quickly.
Yeah, the Laporta injury is much scarier than anything that Gibbs is dealing with right now. That's by far the injury that's the most like what's going on with it. That's right up there with Kirby.
And that's the contract that's the most like, I just don't really want to do anything with that yet.
Yeah.
Yet they have to make a decision.
Otherwise, he walks into next year as an unrestricted free agent.
Which, Sam Laporta, that guy shouldn't hit free agency.
No. He shouldn't. And I don't think in the NFL there's the ability to like match offers, right? There's no restricted free
remember
agency.
the Daniel Jones thing?
Yeah, but you have to tender somebody. Yeah, you're right. You can.
That was
somebody.
the first restricted free agent we'd seen in so long. Yeah, it was so weird.
Yeah, but that ends up being pretty expensive. Like,
Yes,
you're gonna want to just get rid of
you don't want to do that exactly. Now maybe Sam Laporta is willing to like sign a 1-year extension with the Lions. Just because of the injury situation, wants to stay here. Hitting the open market, coming off a back injury, probably isn't the smartest thing for me to do. Like that's going to be the one that I don't truly have a prediction for. The Brian Branch thing, that one's a little different as well because I don't know when he's returning from his injury, but you know that he will. The Campbell Gibbs thing, we've kind of already laid that out. The Laporta one is the really like such a big question mark. What's going to happen with that?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Them not drafting a tight end. Makes me feel a little bit more at ease. Not even from the like, is he hurt, but from the like, we've done the Sam Laporta trade speculation thing all off season. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to trade that guy. He's awesome. Like it could make logical sense, but like, he's a great player.
Kind of surprising though that they didn't end up taking a tight end or a running back in any point in this draft.
I was just gonna say, what was more surprising?
Just combining them together that they didn't do either of those things I thought was surprising because they like their RB3 right now is Sione Vaki. Their running back or their tight end room, nobody's under contract through next season. But Conklin, Brock Wright, Laporta, like every single one of those guys is in the last year of their contract.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit surprised they didn't use one of their day 3 picks to take them. But what are you gonna do?
And also
be pissed off at a 7th round pick?
Totally not. Running back is just one of those positions, too, that it feels like every team drafts one every year. Just like, why not?
Round.
Like, yeah, it's a 6th, 7th round. Like, let's just take a guy,
Yeah. Well, we'll see what ends up happening there. Here's what's coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. I want to talk a little bit more about this Detroit Pistons team. The odds are shifting a little bit towards them in favor of them, and the odds have been shifting everywhere. That's maybe the most interesting part. Then we're going to talk to Khahil for Locked On Detroit Sports or Locked On Detroit Pistons at 11:15. So excited about that as well. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on 100.9 The Mitt. We are live on YouTube as well, so go ahead and search us there by searching Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. Subscribe so you can get notified when we go live every day. And then, of course, we're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. All you got to do is search The Ben Bosscher Show or Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, and you're going to be able to find us there with exclusive video content. Kyle likes doing the thing where he walks around with the phone and asks people questions, and then we post all the answers to the questions. Like this one that we posted this morning was, do you think the Pistons can come back from 3-1? Or whose fault is it that the Pistons are down 3-1? A lot of interesting answers.
You changed your answer.
What do you mean?
Well, yesterday your highest percentage was Cade, right? And then throughout the show, you kind of convinced yourself that it was Trajan.
Oh, no. Going into the show, it was Cade and Trajan tied for 30%.
Oh.
And then when you asked me the question with the real, I was just like,
Nobody said Cade, man. Nobody said Cade.
I don't think logistically it's Cade's
not.
fault, but at the end of the day, when you're the star player, it falls on you. That's the bottom line. If we want Cade Cunningham, this is not a two-way street, you know?
Sure. I also think that I saw a tweet yesterday that helped me open my eyes that the second best offense or the best offensive player Cade Cunningham has ever played with is Bojan Bogdanovic.
I don't think that's true.
Okay,
there's
name
no
me
way
another
that's
one.
true.
Name me another one. Malik Beasley?
Jeremy Grant?
Oh, Jeremy Grant. Woo! No way he was better than Bojan. Come on.
That's bad.
It's bad, right?
Tobias?
Isn't it?
That's bad.
It's Tobias or Bojan. Bojan averaged 20.
989-837-6125. We'll get to some more Mint messages as well. The 11 o'clock hour is on the way here for you guys and us at 100.9 The Mitt. Don't go anywhere. Talking to Khahil and more on the Pistons and their odds of coming back, making history tonight.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The
The Blazy Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Odds are shifting in favor of the Pistons. No Franz Wagner tonight. Well, I guess he hasn't been technically ruled out yet, but he's dealing with a calf injury. I would be shocked if he played. Here's the thing with the calf injuries. You play on them, you come back too early, you tear your Achilles. There's a repeated history of this happening in the playoffs over the last 6 years. Happened to Damian Lillard, happened to Jason Tatum, happened to Tyrese Halliburton. You play with fire when you play on the calf. If Orlando's, not a joke of an organization, they're not going to play Franz Wagner with a calf injury tonight, with calf soreness, a calf strain, because you're putting him at jeopardy of tearing his Achilles. I don't think he plays tonight, which is why the Pistons are 9-point favorites. They lose their best offensive creator, second best. They lose someone who's been the most important player for them in this series. And just like that, you win one game, and you force Orlando into a really weird spot where they're forced to make a really uncomfortable decision. Do we bring back Franz Wagner for Game 6 since we just lost Game 5? Do we let him have a little bit more rest and then walk into Game 7 in LCA? Getting a little bit too far ahead of myself, but I think that's okay when you're dealing with a Franz Wagner injury in which, hey, just like that, Orlando just lost their most or second most valuable piece to the series. I think anything is on the table the rest of the way. And the odds are reflecting that, even being down 3-1.
Which is just crazy to think that it's just 2-1 odds to come back and win 3 games. Like, I understand that they're the 1 seed and everything, but either way, that's the most interesting part about this series, especially for a neutral fan. Like, there's going to be some major history made, nonetheless here. Either the 8 seed is beating the 1, which never happens. Happened last in, 23, I believe, when the Heat beat the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, it hadn't happened since the We Believe Warriors the Bulls beat the Knicks. I think that's what it was. Lost to the Knicks. There's been a few of them, I guess. Or a team's going to come back from 3-1, and it's going to be the 1 seed coming back against the 8 seed. And the best part about it all is this exact same situation happened to the Pistons 23 years ago. I don't know about you, Ben, but I'm a believer in stuff like this happening.
History repeating itself?
If the Pistons come back from 3-1, they're winning the title next year.
Oh.
Right? That's what happened in 03-04. They went down 3-1. The next year, they come back. They win the championship.
That escalated so quickly. Yeah, I mean, in 2003, they go down 3-1 to Orlando as the 1 seed.
Yes.
1-8 matchup and claw their way back into it.
And this was right at the beginning of the first round getting expanded to 7 games as well. So this was the first ever first round 3-1 comeback.
Really?
Yeah.
That I was unaware of. I think the Franz injury is the biggest thing for me. I don't think I'd be
100%.
saying this if Orlando was fully healthy. I'd be like, yeah, the Pistons have no chance. They're not winning 3 straight. They can't score a basket. Orlando's not going to Orlando might have a worse offense than the Pistons do now without Franz Wagner. I feel like they're going to. They lose a good defender as well.
The more and more we talk about it, I'm convincing myself Franz is probably just their best guy. At least in this series, I think he's been their best guy.
I think Paolo has.
Paolo was 4 of 18 last game. Paolo's been good for sure. But what Franz
has
does
been the most
on defense for them too, I guess most important maybe is the word. He's done everything all around, and he's been consistent in every game. And I think he actually causes the most issues for the Pistons defensively.
Because he's huge.
Yeah.
He's enormous.
He's been getting to the cup at will. Paolo, the games that he's had good games, man, yeah, he finishes at the rim from time to time. He's just made tough pull-up, step-back mid-range shots, Kind of shots that you'll live with. Not you'll live with, but it's better than the Franz Wagner just getting easy layups.
Blowing by Jalen Duren.
Yeah, finishing at the rim through Jalen Duren. They are without their potential best guy. Imagine if the Pistons didn't have Cade Cunningham. How do you think the opposing fan base would be feeling? It doesn't matter if you're up 3-1 or not. I'm just saying, though. They're more of a duo rather than having a best guy, 100%. But still, I just wonder how the Magic fans are feeling about losing Franz.
Well, they should be feeling good being up 3-1, but that's just the thing, man. You lose this game, and all of a sudden, you're put in a really
Yeah.
weird situation where it's like, do we bring him back? Do we play him on an injured calf? Is he even going to be
Minnesota's going to go through the same thing with Anthony Edwards too.
But they've already said Ant's not playing this round. Like, he's just done.
Yeah.
He hyperextended his knee. We're not bringing him back. Franz, I think it's weird that they're not just shutting him down. They're like, yeah, we're leaving the door open. He's day to day. I doubt he's
Right.
playing tonight. But like, if we lose, do we kind of have to play him? I don't know, man. I think you're doing Franz a disservice if you bring him back
It'd
early.
be unbelievable if they did that. Like, it'd be wrong of them to do that. I understand, like, yeah, we got to win. You got to play through it. It's for the playoffs. Not the calf injury, man. Like, we have concrete recent history in the last calendar year of this going terribly wrong for teams. Like, you cannot risk that.
What number does Franz wear? It's not 0, right?
22?
Paulo's 0. You see all the guys that have torn their Achilles on the calf injury have worn 0. Dame, Tatum, and Halliburton.
What?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's one of the weirdest things I've
Paulo's
heard.
0, right?
I think he's 5.
Oh, yeah, I think you are right. I don't know who's 0 in Orlando.
Man, I'd be knowing the numbers.
I don't know. That is what it is. Yeah, I think the door's open. Like, it's as open as it can possibly be for being down 3-1 is the best way to put it. And the odds only being, 2-1 right now? And flying all
Plus
over the place?
205, just double checked. It's gone up from down to plus 190. It's been plus 220. It's all over the place, man.
Yeah, Vegas is essentially
What do they
telling
do?
us that if this thing played out 3 times, the Pistons win the series once. And for being down 3-1, that's about as good as odds as you can possibly imagine.
Here's what I'm going to be interested to see. Because tonight they're major favorites. Not only does Vegas expect them to win, but like most people expect them to win tonight, right? You're down 3-1 at home without Franz. You should at least win this game. Game 6 is the one that people are circling. Pistons win tonight. What happens to the odds? Like, are they really is it close to split?
Well, I think it depends how the Pistons win tonight.
sure.
If they kick ass, then maybe the Pistons
Like a
are
game
back to
2
being
type
favorites.
of win. Yeah. They might, because they're going to be favored, I think, in every game, no matter what. They've been favored in every game. Even on both of the road games they were. I think they would be again in game 6, coming off a win. So at that point, you're just taking them to win 2 games, and one of them would be game 7 at home after winning 2 in a row. Man, this is just so important that they take care of business tonight. Like, obviously they have to win, but doing it in convincing fashion to parlay that into game 6.
Yeah, to give yourselves momentum and to make Orlando sweat a little bit of like, wait, do we actually not have this thing in our back pocket anymore? If you kick Orlando's butt today, all of a sudden they start to panic. They start to ask themselves whether or not they should be putting Franz in jeopardy. They start to be like, okay, well, we kind of like if we don't win. You know what happens if the Pistons win tonight? Orlando puts all their stock into winning game 6. They put everything they have into winning game 6. And if they don't, and then you lose that game, more than going back home, you know what that is? That is a gut punch. That takes away all the confidence you have in yourselves.
Yeah.
If you put in all the effort possible and still come up short, then you got to go on the road for game 7 in which home teams are 114-40. Home teams are 114-40 at home on game 7.
And they have already won both games in their building in this series. Like they have like the home court aspect. It's worked out for them. They've pulled those games out. And they like the big thing is they recovered after game 2 like so much better than I thought they would.
Yeah.
Game 2 was a depleting loss for that team, man. 30-3 run. Like what? To open up a half? That's terrible. And for them to bounce back the way that they did in game 3 and get that win and basically have the lead the entire game as well. That shows that even if the Pistons beat down tonight, game 6 is still going to be, like, Orlando's going to be ready for it. But like you said, I mean, that's going to be the game they sell out for. It's not going to be game 7.
Either way, bloodbath tonight, I think.
Yeah.
Not in terms of violence. I think the Pistons are, smart enough to recognize, like, we cannot get into foul trouble tonight. We can't start anything tonight.
We can't have
Isaiah Stewart.
20,000 turnovers.
Yeah, try not to have 7 turnovers in the first couple minutes of the game. That would be ideal. And I think the defensive intensity will be there. It's just going to be a matter of can they get buckets, because Orlando's still doing a good job of just clogging the paint and forcing players to hit shots from the outside. Like Tobias Harris, guess what? You're going to have to hit some threes at some point in this series. Has to happen.
Or anyone.
Or anyone.
Hit more than 1 3 in the second half. Hit 1 in the fourth quarter. Like, we can't rely on Orlando to shoot as bad from deep as they did last game, too. Jalen Suggs, I promise you, is not going 1 for 11 again.
Yeah.
That's for sure. He might go 3 for 11, but that's a big swing.
Better than 1 for 11.
Totally. And so, last question: does Ron Holland play tonight? What do you think? I mean, you've lost 2 games in a row. Like, do you got to switch it up with something? Does JB switch it up with that? He seems like the guy that would get some intentional run.
Here's my answer. Not if Duncan's hot. If Duncan makes his first couple threes, then no, I would say let's play Duncan as much as possible. But if Duncan Robinson, is not, misses his first few shots, sure, why not? Let's get Ron Holland some run tonight.
And I think Duncan actually is going to get even more run tonight because Orlando's source of offense in Game 4 was go at Duncan Robinson when he was on the floor. Without Franz Wagner, that's a lot. Like I'm cool with Anthony Black going at Duncan Robinson, or like if it's just going to be Paulo doing it, then Franz was the one that was taking advantage of it the most, I feel like.
For sure.
So without him, it's going to be a lot easier to keep him on the floor.
Yeah, knock yourself out. Go at. You know what? At least Duncan fights. Well, Duncan's a fighter.
He does.
More than Duran is. Life happens fast, and at Yiter Insurance, they're here to make sure you're covered every step of the way. Locally owned and trusted in Midland for decades, they treat you like family, not just another policy number. From home and auto to business and life insurance, Yiter is the right coverage for every stage of life. Their team makes insurance simple with expert advice and real people you can actually talk to. Yiter Insurance Group will be there when you need us since 1940. Khahil from Locked On Detroit Pistons coming up when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The on 100.9 The Mid.
Khahil, Locked On Detroit Pistons podcast, now joining us here. Koo, thanks for taking the time, joining us here. Nice to meet you, man.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, so Pistons right now, they're about 2-1 to come back all the way from 3-1, which I think this is about as favorable as you can possibly see a matchup from an odds standpoint when your team is trailing 2-1. If the Franz injury was non-existent, I would say, yeah, the offense is too hard to come by. There's no way they're going to be able to score enough points 3 straight games to win this series outright. The Franz injury, to me, has now opened the door for a potential comeback. You win tonight, all of a sudden, all the pressure is on Orlando to win Game 6, and then you just have to win that, get a Game 7 at home. Probably getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I do feel like this Franz Wagner calf injury has opened the door for the Pistons to do something special here.
Yeah, I think, look, I think it's incredible. It's going to be incredibly tough for them to make this comeback. I mean, they haven't given us any reason to believe they can win 3 straight games against this team. But even without the Franz injury, I think there was even still a pathway, even if it wasn't a likely one. I still thought that there was a pathway where they could get this back to a Game 7 in Detroit. And if they were to get it to a Game 7 in Detroit, I can't fathom them losing on their home court in a Game 7 against this team. So there was a pathway. I think it's still an unlikely one. I fully expect them to win tonight. I think the likely outcome is they win tonight and probably end up losing in Orlando in Game 6. But if they do get it to a Game 7, I am very confident they would be able to win it at that point. But it's just one game at a time. They got to get it there.
Yesterday we were playing Blame Pie. Who deserves the most blame? I think it's roster construction. Trajan Langdon specifically. It's obviously the person constructing the roster. I know a lot of people think it's Jalen Duren, and I'm with you that Jalen Duren's been the most disappointing player in these playoffs. I also think that when Cade Cunningham is viewed and we want him to be viewed as a superstar, the blame just ends up on that player's shoulders more often than not. The turnovers have been an issue. The fact that he's not a make-you-pay-for-it type of three-point shooter when he's open has been somewhat of an issue too, and has been one of his flaws for the last couple of, really since he got into the league. But who would you say is most to blame for them being down 3-1 right now?
Yeah, I think for this specific series, for why they're down 3-1, I would say Jalen Duren. The roster construction, I think, is a bigger conversation that would require a lot more time to talk about, and really dives into some other topics of like where was the front office head actually at compared to what fans wanted their front office heads to be at. I think there's been a disconnect a little bit between what fans were wanting and expecting this year from what Trajan was expecting and wanting this year. So I think that's just a deeper conversation. For this series alone, I think it's Jalen Duren. I've talked with a few people, I've heard from a few people, and obviously just watching the games, Jalen Duren, him struggling the way in which he hasn't just been scoring. It's been everything, and him struggling how he has really had like a domino effect to just about everything else that has then went wrong with the Pistons. Like the non-Cade minutes have been absolutely putrid. Like even with how bad Duren has been, if you look at the Cade, Asar, Duren minutes, they're still winning those minutes in the series, shockingly as that may sound. The non-Cade minutes, they're getting absolutely blitzed in those minutes. And a ton of that has to do with they can't trust Duren now to be that secondary creator for when Cade's off the floor, they go to Duren. So you've now seen JB start to go to full bench lamps that have Danis in there, and Danis is being relied upon to do self-creation, and it's obviously went very, very, very poorly. So that's just his play to begin with has been poor, but then you talk about the domino effect that comes from that. Now the non-Cade minutes aren't going as well. Now Cade's seeing even more attention because the team doesn't believe, or the Magic don't believe that there's anyone else that can really create or get downhill against them. It's such a big domino effect from how he's playing that I think it has by far the most impact on the overall team, his play in this series.
And not only does it have a domino effect in terms of the X's and O's, but when Jalen Duren for 6 straight months carries himself like the toughest guy in the NBA, which he was for the most part, like him and Stu were the guys to not mess with at all. When that guy starts getting pushed around and doesn't really have an answer, I feel like it does have a mental toll on not just him, but the rest of the team as well, because I feel like they are lacking that. Isaiah Stewart certainly doesn't lack it, so let's get that out of the way. But they are lacking that chip on their shoulder mentality that they've played with all season long. And it's frustrating too because the defense has been there. That's the craziest thing about this series for sports that they've played. The defense has been there. It's just extremely difficult for them to come by buckets, and it feels like they're almost getting in their own way because obviously Orlando's doing everything they can to collapse in the paint, take away Jalen Duren rolling to the rim, but then it feels like they've almost lacked a little bit of confidence shooting the ball from the outside too, and maybe some of that's watching Duren go down, maybe some of that's just the ball hasn't been going in, so they've lost confidence in that way. Are you seeing the same thing there?
Yeah, I think even more so with them taking away the mental part is what you're mentioning here. I do think that's playing a part, especially with Duren. I think a lot of it is mental at this point with Duren. He's letting Wendell Carter Jr., who is a fine player and probably an underrated player in the NBA in the vast, in the grand scheme of things, but he's letting a player who should not be completely taking him out of the game take him out of the game completely. And I think it's really impacted him mentally. Outside, there was a stretch in the fourth quarter of 2 games ago in game 3 where he really showed up defensively. He had some big-time plays defensively at the rim, and it looked like, okay, they might steal this game, and his play on the defensive end might actually lead to it. He might be able to get through this, and then they end up losing, so I think it kind of just reverted everything back. But it's not even just the pick and rolls. They've taken away the pick and rolls because they're switching everything across the board, but all season when teams try to do that, Duren was then able to just absolute punish mismatches. If you wanted to switch against him, he would just either dominate you inside, post you up, and just dunk on you or draw a foul and hit his free throws, or he'd ISO from the high post area and get downhill and draw a free throw or get to, again, easy bucket at the rim. And they've been completely fine switching Franz onto him multiple times, and he's been absolutely incapable of making that mismatch pay. Franz has knocked the ball loose from him multiple times. He's also been completely incapable of taking Wendell off the dribble. I know there's a lot of people talking about spacing, and the Pistons spacing is not great. But that hasn't been great all year. Mm-hmm. This is not the part I think is most frustrating for me is people acting like the Magic were the first ones in the NBA to figure out, Asar Thompson doesn't shoot threes, we probably don't have to guard him. That's not some new revelation. Like, teams have been doing that all year. The Pistons just didn't care. Like, they still were able to do their things. What they're seeing from the Magic is nothing new. Duren's he's just completely been incapable of taking Wendell off the dribble. He's been knocking the ball loose from him. He's had a few shots go over the backboard. He's been incapable to get downhill at all against a mismatch or Wendell. So the pick and roll is dead. The ISO game is dead. Punishing mismatches is dead. It's really then put it all on Cade's shoulders to have to try to create offense now.
I know you said that you don't think the Pistons will come back from 3-1. If they were able to come back from 3-1, what do you think the number one reason for that would be? Is it the lack of turnovers, starting to make threes, defense? Like, what is the thing that you think would turn it around to get them the win?
It's 100% the turnovers. Even with how Duren is playing, if you look at how Duren's played, you look at how poorly Tobias has shot from beyond the arc. I believe he's shooting 13-14% from deep in this series. If you look at how bad Duncan's been on defense, you look at everything. Even despite that, they were able to take a lead in Game 3 at the end of the fourth quarter, despite playing like absolute trash that entire game. They still were able to come back and take the lead in the fourth. And in this last game, they had 4 consecutive minutes of being able to either, one, take the lead or tie the game, and just weren't able to do it. And the main reason for that is turnovers. You guys mentioned it earlier. Their defense in the half court has been as good as we thought it was. Like, their defense in the Orlando Magic have not been able to score in the half court at all against this team. I mean, despite them being up 3-1, they have the worst true shooting in the NBA in the playoffs. They have the worst efficiency field goal percentage in the playoffs. They have not been able to score against this defense. The difference is, though, is that the Pistons are getting beat at their own game, which is the possession battle and scoring off turnovers. In this game, the Magic scored 94 points this past game. 23 of those points were off turnovers. If you just cut that in half, the Magic aren't able to break 85. Like, they're scoring. I've said this like multiple times on my own podcast that if the Pistons just walked to half court, shot from half court, airballed it, and just stopped, and instead of getting turnovers, they just had a dead ball and allowed them to get back on defense, they probably would be in a better spot than they are right now, because the turnovers are absolutely killing them. It's allowing Orlando to avoid getting after them in the half court. They're allowing them to just get easy buckets. If they cut the turnovers down and start winning the possession battle, I mean, they can win the series still. A lot of it is self-inflicted wounds. So cut the turnovers down, and I think they're in a good spot.
Yeah, cool. I said to open up yesterday's show, it felt like they all passed a blunt around before the game, and that's how the first few minutes of Game 4 went. with all the turnovers, because it was like 7 in the first quarter, and
Yeah.
I felt like 5 of them were within the first 3 minutes of the game. It couldn't dribble the ball. And you also have to give credit to that Orlando crowd. They've been incredible, like in almost shocking way. I guess I don't know why I'm shocked. I just didn't think this crowd would be as big of a factor, but you got to give it to them. The Orlando crowd's been really good. Khahil Locked On Detroit Pistons podcast. Last thing I got for you. Ron Holland, do we see him tonight?
I think so. I think they give him a chance here tonight. It's a tough situation for JB to navigate because you're having a give or take with each player that you're going to decide to play or not play. If they play Ron, the pro is that a Orlando team that's been avoiding making committing turnovers. Ron is one of their best turnover creating players. So you'd hope playing maybe Asar, and then when Asar comes out, Ron's coming in, that you're keeping like this turnover creation on the floor. Maybe, I mean, there's been a lot of people saying you should play Paul Reed. I honestly agree with that as well. He's one of their best turnover creators as well. And that's where the Pistons can get their best offense, is when they get out and break, when they're able to run. And if they can do that, they'll be in a good position. So I think they give Ron a chance. The problem that Ron has to be able to do if he wants to stay on the floor, it's not hit threes. It's not, score points in the half court. He just has to make the smart plays. I was at the game in game 2. I believe that was the last one he played. JB, I have not seen JB, and he's someone who's been emotional all year. JB is very emotional on the sidelines. I have not seen JB more upset and angry at a player all year than I've seen him with Ron Holland in that second game, because Ron turned it over twice when he didn't need to. He forced the issue in twice when he didn't need to, and JB just lost it. And we haven't seen him since. So I think they will give Ron a chance to create some turnovers, but Ron just has to take care of the ball offensively. He can't hit threes, that's fine. You just cannot turn the ball over.
Well, since you said that, I lied. I have one more thing for you. What do you think has been the reason that Cade has had some of these like crazy turnovers? Because game 3, there was one where it felt like he was like, I don't know, thought he was playing in a rec league game, and Orlando just pokes the ball out of bounds, and he's the last one to touch it, and he just walks back down the court smiling, like just a non-locked in factor from the entire Pistons team at some points, and Cade just ends up with the most turnovers, so you feel it from him. Then the plays in transition where he's throwing it at Javonte Green's feet, like this is so uncharacteristic of him. I really thought the turnover issue that was present last year against New York had been cleaned up here in the regular season. Why has this come back out here in the playoffs?
I mean, yeah, no, you're 100% right that it was cleaned up. Like, I spent large parts of the season talking about that was the biggest reason why I thought Cade was a much better basketball player this year, despite the box score maybe not reflecting it. He did a much better job at just taking care of the ball in scoring situations across all play types. It was vastly improved this year. Honestly, I don't know why he's turned the ball over so much in the playoffs. People will point to spacing, but I've went through each one of his turnovers. I had a big thread going through it. 70% of his turnovers have not been either one spacing or even due to the Magic like forcing these out of him. There's been some that are like, man, if he just had some spacing here, he probably would have got that. Or, yeah, the Magic did a great job right here. But 70% of his turnovers have just been lackadaisical. And when I don't like saying lackadaisical because then people get the impression that I'm assuming that Cade's just not trying. That's not like what I'm saying. It's just, it seems like he's at times too.
He's in regular season mode.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Tobias said it after the game last game that he felt like everyone was way too casual. And it's like it's like he doesn't feel like his teammates realize we're in a playoff game here. You mentioned some of the transition turnovers. He just threw at Javonte Green's foot. There was 2 other ones early in the game where it felt like they were really forcing during the ball to try to get him going.
Yeah.
They had a 3-on-1 in transition. Asar is wide open behind Cade for a dunk. Tobias is wide open to his right for a layup. And instead he tries forcing to Duren. And that whole beginning first quarter sequence was just about them trying to get Duren the ball, and they just kept forcing it. But that happened multiple times where they have easy transition buckets, and Cade's just flipping the ball. There's been a few, like you mentioned, where he just loses his handle and it goes out of bounds. And if he can clean up the just nonsensical turnovers, they'll be in a good spot. But it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care how much responsibility you have. 24 turnovers over 3 games is just it's unacceptable from anybody. That's ridiculous.
You see, it was the most in NBA history for a 3-game playoff stretch since they've started tracking turnovers.
I mean, he's on a list with James Harden, so he's a legend. So, I mean, maybe that means good things.
Khahil, go ahead and plug the podcast. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on whatever podcast platform you listen to any podcast on, Apple, Spotify, all of that, Google Play. And you can also find the podcast over on YouTube if you want to see more of the Darth Koo bit, which if the Pistons lose tonight, Darth Koo will be coming back again tonight.
Hey, I've been following it for a few years. Nice to have you on. I know you alluded to the big picture roster issues. Hopefully we can talk about that at some point this offseason, but hopefully that's not tomorrow. Koo, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll talk to him a little bit later on. We've got our 3 traditions to close out every show. We got to get to news as well. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on the Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. Built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, Kyle Sandel, take it away. Tell us what's going on in the news.
The Mets Morning Catch.
Okay, it's time for the news. I know you just talked about, hey, we might have to have some grand scheme Pistons off-season talk at some point. We're already getting that right now, and it's not even the off-season. Because Shams Charania reported yesterday, yes, our favorite guy, he expects the Pistons to make moves this offseason. Because Shams, he's always got really hard, concrete breaking news like that. Quote, I do expect them to be star hunting or hunting for those types of players when names like Lauri Markkanen were brought up.
Oh, wow. So we're talking like top market stars.
That's what Shams says.
I would be very much interested in this. I mean, now that if they lose in the first round, they're going to have to make some sort of move at some point. I'm not opposed to shooting for the, what is it, aim for the moon? Shoot for the stars, aim for the moon?
Right.
Something like that?
That's what Pop Smoke once said.
Is that right?
Yes, he did. Yeah, I mean, I think some major moves are going to be made, like, no matter what this offseason, honestly. So, we'll see.
I
We
want to
haven't.
make sure I can hear you. Can you turn down that music just a little bit?
Yep.
Thank you, Kyle. Now I can hear you better.
We haven't gone over the NBA games from last night yet.
Let's do it.
But before we do that,
All right.
let's talk about J-Mo. Man, J-Mo is suing everybody. Jameson Williams is filing a bombshell lawsuit against the NCAA, the Big Ten, and the SEC. Just the big three.
Yeah. I tried
because
reading
of
into
his
this.
They used his NIL without his permission and made money off of him.
He's mad at like social media stuff, which I don't even like.
So for like posting videos of him?
Yeah. Years ago. Like, what do you. Every athlete that's ever existed should be able to sue the NCAA
maybe he's
and the
just
Big
getting,
Ten.
maybe
and their
he's getting out in
conference.
front of it, you know? Like,
this would be like some Central Michigan football players like, oh, you posted me in a hype video, and I didn't get paid for it, and I'm suing.
and I know that video made a little bit of money.
And I'm suing. It's
Yeah,
like,
but do
okay,
they, does,
all
like,
right.
yeah. I didn't really read the details on this either. I just saw it was
There
for
wasn't
his,
really
for his NIL, yeah.
There wasn't really any details other than social media, name, image, likeness, Big Ten, SEC,
Yeah.
and NCAA. It's
You know
just
what?
Like, man, you're just going for everybody.
You know what? NCAA, Big Ten, SEC, three of the most like corporations that I just don't really love what they got going on most of the time. So go for it, J-Mo.
Yep.
I support him. Team J-Mo. That's all I got to say.
I'm trying to figure out what the equivalent of that would be. You know what? I'm going to sue.
Yeah, no, you put me in that Mitt video the other day, and
And we made 7 cents
yeah,
off of it.
and I didn't get 1 cent of that. Yeah, I don't really know.
I'm suing. Just go on.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's go over the NBA games from last night. The Sixers pick up a win in Game 6 against the Celtics to extend this series. Man, Ben thought it was going to be the Paul George game. It was the Joel Embiid game.
Yeah.
33 ball from Embiid, and he left this game with a knee injury as well. Comes back, has a huge game. Philly's forcing a Game 6, going back to Philly as well. What
I
do
don't
you
know.
think?
I still
any
think
chance
this
here?
is not as. I think the Pistons have a more likely chance of coming back from 3-1 than I do the Sixers coming back from 2-1 at this point. Which it would, I guess, still
It'd
be
be
a 3-1 comeback.
Yeah, it'd be 3-1. Yeah, I mean, of course.
just don't see it, man. I
don't either. I think they probably just lose the next game. But we were kind of due for one like big Embiid game, so at least we got
Pretty
that.
cool to see.
Yeah, it is. It was like shout out to Joel Embiid. He does go through a lot. I mean, the appendicitis thing is just kind of thrown on top of it, and then he leaves with a knee injury. Just a lot going on for that guy. So at least he did that. Hawks Knicks, man, the Knicks just take care of business. This was never a game with Atlanta. It was a blowout from the start. Brunson has 39. They go up 3-2 to potentially take this thing back in Atlanta. Knicks got this one for sure. No chance.
It feels
Hawks
like they
are done.
figured it out.
Yeah.
They smoked them yesterday.
Two
it feels
straight
like
games.
they figured it out.
2 straight convincing wins for the Knicks, yeah. And then the Spurs, they win their first playoff series since 2017 in 5 against Portland. Pretty cool. The Spurs are officially back. Portland had a chance here when Wemby went out pretty early in the series. Maybe they could make some noise. They picked up 1 win, but not enough as the Spurs advance.
You know me. I'm all in on this Spurs team,
Yeah.
man. I'm all in.
Big Spurs guy. Tonight, Magic Pistons, 7 o'clock. It's the first game. It's on Prime Video. It's unfortunate for us here at Dow Diamond with this TV hanging overhead in the studio.
It's not a smart TV.
Raptors, Cavs.
I think that means we need to buy a smart TV.
Before tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. Brad? 7:30, Raptors, Cavs. That's a big game. Game 5 of that series. Tied up 2-2, of course. That one's back in Cleveland at 7:30. Cleveland 8.5-point favorites. And then Rockets, Lakers, also Game 5. LA with a chance to close this thing out with Austin Reeves. I don't think they've officially said he's playing tonight, but
Definitely not.
I think he is, though.
I think they close them out tonight.
They're 4.5-point favorites as well. I think they close them out, too. Yeah. I'm rooting for the Lakers, at least. Okay. Last thing we got here in the news, it's Scooble Bump Day. Tarek Scooble versus J.R. Ritchie. Tigers Braves Game 2. That is at 7:15. KD is also out tonight for the Rockets. So
Sounds like a great day for 2 TVs. Pistons and Tigers and a Scooble Tigers Day. I'm all in.
Also, I do want to throw this in. Did you see this? Both Francis Maui-Noah and Caden Proctor are expected to be guards for the Giants and the Dolphins. Yeah. The Dolphins announced
Caden Proctor's going to be a guard.
The Dolphins announced yesterday that he's going to start their reps out at guard.
No
at
wonder
least
all
in
these
camp.
guys fell. Nobody wants them to play tackle.
And Maui-Noah. I mean, that one kind of was, I think, a little bit talked about just for the Giants' landing spot in general.
Yeah.
So the Lions got the second best tackle in the class.
Ooh,
Right?
I like when you
that
put
Jeremy
it that way.
Jeremy Reisman said that on Twitter. I kind of stole it, but
You got to give credit where credit's due.
yeah,
It's a
exactly.
good take.
Yeah, I like it. I like the take. Lions win, man.
All right, there we go. 989-837-6125. We'll get to our 3 traditions to close out every show when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on the Met.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, we got 3 traditions to close out every show. The first of which is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
We did not hit yesterday. I mean, but like, I need to do this with a caveat. I'm going for the home run swings to try to go over 500 in April. So I'm fully, like, I am Riley Green 2025 swinging for a 500-foot home run right now. So it's putting me in the hole even more, which is probably not the best strategy in the long run, but we'll go back to the safer picks in April.
You didn't really get set up for success with the Pistons one on Monday. Like, that was supposed to be the one that set you up with an easy win, and then you can go from there. And as soon as that lost, it was like, okay, you really have no option then other than to go crazy here.
Yeah.
Which yesterday's pick I didn't really love.
It looks good for the first quarter. He had 8 through 1.
Yeah, sure.
16 through 2.
But also, like, I don't think
13%.
anybody was predicting the big Embiid game either, so kudos to Embiid for that. 12 units down in 2026. You're about 8 units down in April with 2 days to go. So you need to make up plus 795 essentially combined over the next 2 days to go up in April.
Well, okay, how about this? I'm going for the triple today. I'm not going for all of it back. I'm going for almost all of it back. Tarek Skubal, one time this season, has had 10 strikeouts. It was 2 starts ago in Boston. I think he does it for the second time this year. He's going up against this Atlanta team. That's really the only logic I have. I didn't want to do like a one random 35-point performance, but I was like, what's good? I mean, 10 strikeouts at plus 700 for Skubal.
Yeah.
That's pretty good value because at some point this summer, like last summer,
that was like plus 150.
Yeah.
Yeah. His over-under would be like 8 or 9.5. Yeah.
So the fact that this year he hasn't started out the year with like a crazy amount of Ks, we're getting good juice on it. 10 Ks for a Tarek Skubal bump at 7-1. You're telling me every 7 starts, Tarek Skubal gets 10 strikeouts? I think it's a little bit more likely than that. So I like the odds. I saw that. It jumped out. I don't have any Atlanta strikeout stats for you. I know he played Atlanta once in 24 and had 7 Ks. The odds just stuck out to me. I didn't want to do another 25, 30-point performer in the NBA.
You know what, Ben? I'll support this today. Because it's a good find. And, like, if you were going to have a long ball play, this feels like the appropriate one.
Yeah, do it with scoops.
Plus 700, and it sets you up tomorrow for just a plus 100 bet, gets you right back. So I like this one today. If you had to do any sort of long shot bet, I feel like this is probably your best option. Obviously,
guess what it is right now?
Oh, it's gone down. Oh, it's gone up?
Plus 750.
Well, I got it on the graphic at plus 700. Why do they think he's never going to get? I mean, that's crazy.
I don't know.
I figured it'd be like plus 400 or something. So it feels dumb to tail a plus 700 odds bet. That's for sure. But whatever. I think it could happen. I mean, he's my favorite term. He's due.
In terms of Atlanta strikeouts for this season, they don't. This is why. They're third least in strikeouts.
Okay, that's not good.
But they haven't faced Tarek Skubal yet.
That's
for
also
certain.
true. Okay, wait, here's the real test. Did they strike out 10 times as a team yesterday? That's going to be my final decision.
I don't think so.
Yesterday, they struck out 9 times as a team. That's it.
So
10 from Skubal. Yeah, screw it. I'll still tail. Whatever.
If you wanted to get super crazy,
you
could go Tarek Skubal 10 Ks plus parlay that with Cade Cunningham to score 30 or 35.
Probably 30.
And that makes it a plus 1668 bet.
Seems like a crazy thing to do, yeah.
So I'm not going to do that. It's just going to be Skubal 750.
Wow, you're throwing out the crazy Detroit sports parlay tonight, though.
I think it has to it can't be the money lines because the Pistons are favored by 9.5. It has to be like Cade 30 plus Skubal something.
Yeah,
I think
like
it's
maybe Skubal's just over on Ks instead of all the way up to 10. But screw it, if you think it's going to be 10, then why not?
Skubal 10 Ks plus 700. That's our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, the next thing we got is our game of the day. I mean, we got to go to the Pistons game, right? We're going to the Tigers game for the lock of the day. We got to go to the Pistons game for the game of the day. I think it is the best game across, the Rockets game, but that's 3-1 right now. So it's the Pistons.
Yeah.
It's just got to be the Pistons.
But like Cavs Raptors is 2-2.
I don't care about those teams. I mean,
Oh.
I do because the winner is going to play the winner of this Pistons series. Excuse me. Just boring watch. At least with the Pistons, you get like a true like prison ball game.
You got Penguins Flyers, which is 3-2, and the Flyers are maybe going to blow a 3-0 lead.
I'm just going to be genuine about it. I'm not going to watch that tonight.
You know, I'm not either. I just wanted to throw out maybe if somebody was like, "Why are they talking about hockey?"
It's my game of the day. It's what I'm watching. It's what's most important to me, and that for me is the Pistons game. So that is what I will go with for our game of the day.
Game of the day.
We're both picking a Pistons win, right? Convincing or no?
What's
Like,
that?
is it a
I
convincing?
got two
Oh, yeah.
words for
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Steve Nash and Chris Paul. Must-see TV.
We're both picking a Pistons win. Do you think it'll be a convincing win?
Yes.
I do too.
Yes, I do. I think that this is a convincing win tonight, and it's going to get our hopes up for Game 6, and then Game 6 is going to be the biggest like slugfest, gross game that we've seen since Game 4, because Game 4 was the exact same thing. Yeah.
Imagine
exactly.
a Game 7 when everyone's juiced up. Game 7s are always
Juiced
ugly.
up. You're right. Game 7s are always ugly, but I feel like going into Game 7, if the Pistons have won 2 in a row and it's back at home, there's a potential for the Pistons to just take care of business. But obviously, they still have to win 2 games ahead of that. Yeah, I think the Pistons win tonight. I think the offense gets going a little bit more, and the Magic are just going to struggle without Franz Wagner. Like, straight up. He's been their most consistent guy this whole playoff run on both ends. They're really going to miss him, specifically because the replacement is really bad. So I'm very confident in the Pistons tonight. I do want to say something, though. I saw this on Twitter, and it really made me like, oh, God. We're, like, pretty close to potentially having a Raptors Magic second round matchup in the playoffs, where one of those teams is playing in the conference finals. Can we really not allow that to happen, please?
Yeah.
That's gross.
Someone's got to step up.
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes
Somebody's
got
to do something, man. Oh, Scotty Barnes versus Paulo.
Adam Silver's like, how do I sell this?
Okay, I think I was too worried about the lottery, guys. We got to figure out this situation with the playoffs. So bad.
All right, what do we think Colin's opening with? This is our final tradition.
Yes, it is. You already mentioned it earlier, but nobody got a point yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Rams, again, crazy. So it's my turn to go first. It's 53-52, still the score. I'm up by 1. It's been that way all week. Okay, today is tough because last night you have Boston losing. Anytime Boston loses, that's like a big deal, you know. You have the Lakers playing tonight. It has to be an NBA lead today. There's no way he goes back to the draft. The NCAA tournament thing expanding / the lottery thing, I could see him having like a grand scheme take about one of those. I just don't know if it's quite lead worthy. I think I just do a default Wemby here. The Spurs winning the playoff series. I think that's my pick. But I really want to pick the lottery thing. But I'll go with the Wemby thing.
I'm going to zag on both of those things. The Knicks are winning the East.
Oh, I totally forgot about the Knicks, too.
The Knicks win. They go up 3-2.
The Knicks are winning the East. Oh, because
And
Boston
Celtics-
also
Boston lost.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
I think it's a Knicks-centric lead. They figured it out. They've got something with Cat. They're built to beat the Celtics. There's the one seed's down 3-1. No one's stopping the New York Knicks. They're going back to the finals this year.
Back since
The 90s.
the 90s, 99.
96. Oh, yeah, 99.
Which a lot of people don't even really count that year because it was the weird lockout year. 8 seed in the finals. There you go. A lot of 8 seed stuff going on today.
All right. Appreciate everybody listening today. We'll be back tomorrow. I pray to God we're recapping a Pistons win. Otherwise, it's going to get real grim here. But I think we are going to be recapping a Pistons win. So appreciate it if you guys would tune in then. 9 o'clock tomorrow. Like and subscribe on YouTube so you don't forget. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen back to the show. I'm Ben Bosscher. That's Kyle Sandel. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
The Ben Bosscher